The end of the world. Materials consumed by women will be returned 10,000-fold. Hey, fanfic family. So glad to see you here again to continue this incredible adventure. As always, kindly remember, this story is 100% fiction, so don't go looking for dimensional portals in your closet. All rights to this fantastic novel belong to the original author. We're just your humble narrators of epic tales. Are you enjoying the fanfic? Show it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and dropping us a like. And if you're impatient for more exclusive content, our Patreon is your happy place. Chapter 1: Acquiring Beautiful Women, including food and accommodation. Jiang Fan turned on his phone and sent a message in the Fortune Center community group. Food and accommodation are included. Add everyone, except beautiful women. Food is included. Private chat with those who are willing, and full-body selfie photos without beauties will be sent first. Suddenly, the group exploded. Block A number 1201 Jiang from afar. Brother, are you crazy? Block B number 809 has been called a handsome guy since he was a child. Are you really going to just lie like that? This bait is too salty and I can't eat it. Block B number 1808 Sun Jianmin, director of the sub-district office. Little brother, this is a period of natural disaster. You should hand over the food and distribute it equally to everyone. You can't be too selfish. Especially if you want to exchange food for women. This behavior is illegal. If you chat with me privately and leave the food to me for distribution and management, you will not be held responsible. Block A number 30322, LSP, don't let me know who you are. It's so disgusting. Block A number 705 Aunt Zhang, why didn't this trash change his group name? Who knows where he lives? I have to come and scold him to death. Call the police quickly. What are you waiting for? Block B number 1802 is in a good mood every day. Where's the group leader? Kick this pervert out quickly. Jiang Fan was very calm. It is impossible to kick because his big number is the group leader. He works in a 24-hour convenience store outside the community, and people in the community often ask him to deliver things to their door in order to facilitate delivery. He established this group and marked everyone's identity and address. Later, it gradually developed and became a public group in the community. Of course, Jiang Fan's purpose in sending this news was not to gain access to sperm, but to a system he obtained yesterday. God-level return system. Number of women. 1. God-level return. The materials consumed by the host woman will be returned to the host, and the return rate equals the number of women. 100. Current magnification. 100. Bucksack. Unlimited capacity. Time stands still. Jiang Fan has an ex-girlfriend named Song Xian. They have been separated for more than half a month, but they are still counted by the system. When can I get the next woman? Jiang Fan thought to himself, not too anxious. Most of the residents of Fortune Center are young people and there is not much food at home, but now it's impossible to buy food because the world has changed. Jiang Fan put down his phone and looked out the window with a solemn expression. Nowadays, the entire Mohe city has been shrouded in the boundless red mist. Only the TV towers, residential buildings and other tall enough buildings have their roofs exposed, like the spires on the red ocean. Jiang Fan's home is located on the 32nd floor of the sub-top floor. The entire building below the 20th floor has been submerged in red mist. What's even more terrifying is that several pine trees in the community actually poked their heads out of the red mist. What the hell can a pine tree grow as high as a 20-story building? 3 days ago, red mist suddenly appeared around the world. Plants grew wildly, and animals mutated. Jiang Fan even saw a cockroach bigger than a mouse. He looked away and took out the half-eaten bread from the refrigerator. The bread that had just been opened in the morning was now covered with the gray-green mold. As soon as I opened the plastic bag, I was greeted by a musty smell. Food rots faster and faster. Jiang Fan sighed. Not only animals and plants are evolving, but microorganisms are also evolving. All food that is not vacuum-packed deteriorates rapidly. As long as the packaged food is opened, it will become moldy in up to 3 hours. Jiang Fan walked to the balcony and threw the bread out. The bread made a parabola and fell into the red mist. The red mist rippled like water. Jiang Fan couldn't see the situation below the 20th floor and didn't dare to go down when the red mist came on the first day. Jiang Fan tried to go down to the 19th floor and walked into the red mist. The red mist severely blocked the light, and the line of sight was only about 5 or 6 meters. Even the flashlight light could not penetrate, and the surrounding area was filled with a permeating red dimness. After Jiang Fan walked for a while, he heard human screams coming from the depths of the red mist. He quickly ran away and never left the room again. Jiang Fan opened a new bag of bread and started eating it. Now, all social networks are exploding. Longo TV news, the red mist disaster has spread all over the world. All animals and plants are evolving rapidly. The country will definitely take action to protect the lives and safety of its citizens. Dragon Kingdom Public Security Department reminds all survivors, try not to go outdoors. Please stay in the nearest building and wait for help. Attention, the wild is extremely dangerous. The wild is extremely dangerous. The wild is extremely dangerous. Longo Densa reminds, in order to ensure that citizens can maintain contact, all user traffic is temporarily free until disaster recovery. Help. I was bitten by a mosquito as big as my palm, and now my whole face is swollen. Die long. I saw a huge sparrow that pecked the helicopter down. Ha ha ha. I can shoot lightning. Please call me the Flash. I am the master of the new era. Picture, picture, picture. I envy another lucky person. When can I awaken my powers? A boss with superpowers, please support me. I am fair-skinned and beautiful, and I know how to use clips. I will bring my own whip, candle, and iron chain. VX, XXXXX, picture, 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 upstairs. Can we turn off the beauty function? Roll. I am the Public Security Bureau of Binhai District, Mohai City. Please report newly awakened superpowers to my office. Uncle Security Guard, I'm starving. Can you send me some food? My address is XXXX. Jiang Fan watched for a while but didn't see any good news as for the superpowers. They appeared on the first day when the red mist descended. The world has changed. Jiang Fan was curious about how these people obtain their powers. Ling. Song Shine ate a Snickers bar. 100 will be returned. It has been put into the carry-on space. Jiang Fan raised the corners of his mouth slightly since the system awakened. Song Shine has eaten a lot, and returned all of it to Jiang Fan 100 times, enough for him to last for a year. In addition, there are a lot of packaged foods such as cans, ham sausages, and instant noodles piled in his carry-on space. These are all last-minute food from the convenience store. The owner of the convenience store where he works is called Fatty Who often forced Jiang Fan to buy it at a 50% discount, but now it has become a precious resource. Jiang Fan took out some food, took a few photos, and then uploaded them to the group. Food and accommodation included. Food and accommodation included. All you want is a beautiful woman, if you are the one. Picture, 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 block A number 30322, garbage. Get out of the group. It's amazing to have something to eat. Block C number 1708 Zhou Xian Heao Yon Xingjian gym coach, boy. Don't be so nasty, I will punch you to death. Picture, picture. Zhou Xian Heao took the opportunity to post a few photos of his muscles, which exuded a metallic sheen. Block B number 809 has been called handsome boy since childhood. Coach Zhou, your muscles will shine. Block C number 1708 Zhou Xian Heao Yon Xingjian gym coach, ha. I don't know what happened but it suddenly became like this. As long as I exert force, the skin all over my body becomes extremely hard and cannot be scratched with a knife. And my strength has become stronger 2 times. Block A number 30322. Wow. Coach Zhou, you are great. Block A number 705 Aunt Zhang, the young man looks so sunny. Auntie still has a lot of canned food at home. Let's eat together. Everyone fawned over Zhou Xian Heao. Jiang Fan looked on with envy. Zhou Xian Heao's ability is very practical. His return system and portable space do not provide combat effectiveness. Still no women chatting privately. Jiang Fan was not in a hurry as the situation worsens. As long as the authorities cannot implement effective rescue, people will sooner or later fall into a state of lack of food. He picked up the kettle and watered a row of succulents on the windowsill. These succulents were left behind by ex-girlfriend Song Shibai and Jiang Fan didn't know any of them. One of the succulent plants was very strange. After the red mist appeared, the plant produced 2 lychee-like fruits, but they were black. These 2 black lychees were so fragrant that Jiang Fan wanted to eat them every time he smelled them, but he held back. Everything is evolving crazily now. Who knows what this is? Black lychees look very strange at first glance. At this moment, a scream came from Tower A opposite. Help! Help! Jiang Fan raised his head and looked towards the building opposite. I saw a woman with disheveled hair running to the balcony on the 21st floor of Tower A opposite. Chapter 2 I am not helping the poor. The woman was wearing tattered pajamas and was covered in blood. Wow! A giant tiger like Garfield smashed the glass and slowly came over. Meow! The woman was so frightened that she retreated to the corner of the balcony and screamed, "Lucky! Don't come here! Help!" Garfield stared straight at the woman, approaching her step by step. Just when the woman was about to be bitten to death by the giant cat, a huge blood-red tongue suddenly shot out from the red mist below. His tongue penetrated the balcony floor, instantly enveloping the woman. The woman was instantly caught in the giant tongue, her eyes widened in horror, and before she even had time to scream, she was dragged into the red mist like lightning. The giant cat is covered in fur. It jumped to the edge of the balcony and whined a warning sound at the red mist. A loud frog call came from the red mist. Quack quack quack. The giant cat didn't dare to jump down and slowly turned around and returned to the room. Damn it. Jiang Fan's pupils shrank suddenly. Are even frogs this scary now? The tongue is twice as thick as a woman's waist. What a big frog this is. At this time, the window in the next room opened, and a beautiful woman walked to the window and looked at the tragedy opposite with a pale face. Jiang Fan knew her. Tang Zirao, the most outstanding beauty in the community, is a second-generation official. Her father is the director of the Investment Promotion Bureau. Although the two were neighbors, Tang Zirao was usually very arrogant and never had to look Jiang Fan in the eyes. Tang Zirao attracted much attention in the community. Every time she went to a convenience store to buy something, many male customers would peek at her. Jiang Fan naturally couldn't help but take a second look, but he didn't have much idea. He knew that people like him and Tang Zirao were from two different worlds. However, things are different now. The world has changed. Jiang Fan's eyes were burning. Tang Zirao noticed Jiang Fan's gaze. She also recognized the clerk at the convenience store downstairs, but she didn't know his name. Tang Zirao said with a cold face, "What are you looking at?" After saying that, he suddenly closed the curtains. "Wow, you are quite arrogant." Jiang Fan sneered. "When you beg me." Another day passed, and finally a woman couldn't bear it anymore and began to contact Jiang Fan privately. Block A number 30322. "Little brother, can you give me an instant noodle?" Poor, pleading, Jiang Fan raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Finally. "Come, Jiang." Fan has never seen this tutu in real life. Some customers will ask Jiang Fan to put the goods outside the door. Food and accommodation included. Send full body photos. No beautification required. Block A number 30322. "I have a slightly fat body. Shy. Picture. I like being fat the most." Jiang Fan clicked on the picture and felt his eyes go dark. His arms are thicker than his thighs. The butt is the same as the basin. "Do you call yourself fat? It's obviously a meat tank, right?" At this time, the system automatically prompts, Shenyuage 29, quality. 3 points, unspeakable, women's ethics. 3 points, private life is chaotic, 6 ex-boyfriends, comprehensive score. 3 points, Ling. Does not meet the minimum system requirements. Jiang Fan directly blocked in block A number 30322, little brother. Immediately afterwards, she found that she had been blocked, and she was so angry that she cursed in the group. "Jimmy girls, food and lodging included, is just a scumbag who cheats on photos." Don't believe it, Jiang Fan was not polite and decisively posted a screenshot of the chat in the group. "You are worthy of exchanging your body for food while I help the poor." The group exploded. Everyone didn't expect to be able to eat big melons at the end of the day, and some people began to laugh at Tutu Rabbit became angry with shame. Block A number 30322, food and lodging are included, but there isn't much food at all. Jimmy's, don't believe him. Jiang Fan didn't get used to it, so he took out 100 Snickers bars from his pocket, took a few photos and sent them to the group. Food and accommodation included. Picture. At this time, packaged foods like Snickers were hard currency. High energy, long shelf life, can save lives at critical moments. Tutu's eyes were all red and he could only dive and shut up. He was so frustrated that he didn't dare to speak anymore. The group is in a frenzy. Block B number 509. "My wife has a flat tire. Holy shit. So many Snickers bars, Ms. Liu." Block A number 904. "Food is included. Big brother, can you give me something to eat?" Some people started to think, old Mrs. Su. Block C number 901. "Young man, my grandson hasn't eaten in 3 days. Please give me some chocolates." Mrs. Su. Jiang Fan thought of this sarcastic old lady. Mrs. Su likes to take advantage of herself. She often steals other people's waste paper boxes at the entrance of the stairs. Jiang Fan once caught her, but Mrs. Su refused to admit it. Selling waste paper only cost a few yuan. Jiang Fan was too lazy to argue with her, so he just let it go. Then something else happened. Mrs. Su has a grandson named Teo, a typical naughty boy. When Jiang Fan just bought an electric motorcycle, the naughty boy made a cross on the seat. Jiang Fan checked the surveillance system and found Mrs. Su, but she still behaved and cheated without any compensation at that time. No matter how angry Jiang Fan was, there was nothing he could do for a shameless old lady like Mrs. Su. If you dare to touch her or even scold her, she will pretend to be unconscious and lie on the ground to blackmail you. Now, Jiang Fan sneered. Food and accommodation included. Your grandson is none of my business. MRS. Sue was angry. No one had ever dared to talk to her like this. Old Mrs. Sue, Block C number 901. Young man, do you understand? Respect the old and love the young? You keep so much food for yourself, you won't be able to finish it anyway, so why not give it to me? Food and accommodation included. I respect Nima, MRS. Sue was so angry that she said, how dare you curse? Food and accommodation included. If you don't die, get out. After speaking, Jiang Fan directly silenced Mrs. Sue. Mrs. Sue was so angry that the three corpse gods jumped. Unfortunately, she couldn't utter a word, so she could only be furious. The group was noisy. Some women were moved. The food in their homes was about to run out, and they had to find new food. They were just worried about whether there would be enough food in this package that included food and accommodation. Modern urbanites don't store much food at home. Even if there are elderly people at home, they like to buy a lot of rice, flour and oil, but now they have all gone bad. The problem of hunger will become increasingly serious. Tang Zhao looked at her phone and pressed her stomach painfully. So hungry she was also a little moved. But I am worried that I will be deceived. How much food can be stored at home with this food and accommodation package? Question mark. Can it last a month? What to do after 1 month? What Tang Zhao is even more worried about is that if the country starts to rescue her as soon as she has food and shelter, wouldn't she suffer a big loss? There are many people like Tang Zhao who still have illusions about national rescue. Most people are silently enduring it, constantly scrolling through their phones, waiting for official news. After that, 3 women contacted Jiang Fan one after another. Although they were not as ugly as Shen Yu, their overall scores did not reach 8 points. Not recognized by the system, Jiang Fan refused them all. Naturally, these 3 women went to the group and scolded Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan also unceremoniously silenced them all for a woman whose overall score is not good enough. Jiang Fan is too lazy to care about her life and death. It's the end of the world now. It's good if you can save your own life. Only Shabby can be the Holy Mother. Moreover, before the end of the world, convenience store clerks like Jiang Fan were typical low-class men who were often dissed by women. Now that I'm awesome, I'll screw you all. Jiang Fan opened a bottle of green tea and drank it comfortably. He ate ham, sausage and braised eggs and posted pictures of his meal to the group, which naturally aroused a group of scoldings. The red mist falls on the 5th day. 90% of the people in the community are hungry. Jiang Fan still didn't go out even above the red mist. It was very dangerous outside yesterday. He also heard human screams coming from a nearby room, as if he was attacked by some kind of animal in high-rise buildings. Sound transmission is very irregular. Jiang Fan didn't know if it was the neighbor's room next door or the resident downstairs. He ate a pack of instant noodles, did some simple exercises, and then opened the pesticide and started around. Brothers are still alive. Nonsense. How can dead people play games? Hurry up. I have finished eating all the things at home. I probably won't be able to survive the day after tomorrow. I can play a few games. Hey. How many do you want to play? Roll. Just a few minutes into the game, a scream came from Luban's microphone. FK. My dog is crazy. Don't bite me. Get out of here. After a burst of fighting and dog roaring, the Luban player's voice disappeared. The terrifying sound of animals crunching bones came through the microphone. Click, click, crunch. The teammates were silent. Jiang Fan turned off the game with a livid face. The world is getting crazier and crazy, and pet dogs are starting to eat people. Jiang Fan took another look at the pot of succulents with black lychees. Isn't this damn thing poisonous? Do you want to throw it away? After a while, another woman chatted privately. Block C number 3201 Rauking. Hello. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. Isn't this Tang Zhao next door? Jiang Fan had a wicked smile on his face. This BCH finally couldn't stand it any longer. Chapter 3. Tang Zhao is anxious. Food and accommodation included. Stop talking nonsense and send photos. Block C number 3201 Rauking. Can I exchange my gold necklace for a pack of instant noodles? Food and accommodation included. No gold necklace required. Send a full body photo immediately, otherwise you will be blocked. Tang Zhao hesitated for a few minutes before sending a full body photo. In the photo, Tang Zhao stands in front of the camera with an expressionless face, her long hair shawl, black and smooth. She was wearing light cyan silk pajamas and had fair skin. She had probably been hungry for several days. Her face was pale, and she still had the aura of a top beauty. The system automatically prompts, Tang Zhao age 25, quality. 9 points, beautiful and refined, women's virtue. 10 points, not considered human affairs, comprehensive score. 9 points, Ling. Meets system requirements. Jiang Fan laughed with satisfaction. Food and accommodation included. Okay, come to my house. Block C number 3201 Rouking. Can I go home and sleep at night? Food and accommodation included. No, this is a deal. You have to live with me. Coming or not? Don't waste your time. Tang Zirao stopped talking again. Jiang Fan was not in a hurry. He knew that Tang Zirao was still hesitating. It's okay. Then you'll be hungry. I'm not hungry anyway. Jiang Fan threw Tang Zirao behind his head and continued watching the video. At this time, a live broadcast came out. 4 nearby men ventured out in search of food, and one of them started a live broadcast. Jiang Fan became serious and took the opportunity to understand the situation outside. In the camera, the road outside has been covered with dense weeds, the height of which even exceeds an adult's thighs. The asphalt road was completely abandoned. Plant roots penetrate the road like steel bars. Standing upright like iron nails, Jiang Fan had no doubt that this thing could easily explode a tire. If the car cannot be driven, there will be no organized troops to come to the rescue. We must survive on our own. Jiang Fan frowned and watched the live broadcast. In the camera, a pine tree with a diameter at breast height larger than 4 people can be seen surrounding it. Its trunk grows straight upward and disappears into the red mist, with no end in sight from the anchor's perspective. It looks like the terrifying Tower of Babel. They passed a row of shops. It is now deserted and filled with various plants. Even the walls and floors are covered with strange-shaped vines. As the anchor explores, more and more huge plants appear in the video. The 4 of them walked among them like dwarfs who had mistakenly entered the land of giants. The road that was once bustling with traffic is now deserted. The roadside is covered with deep weeds. Parked vehicles were covered in vines. In just a few days, the bustling city turned into virgin forest. At this moment, a huge cat jumped down silently and slapped the man in front to death with one claw. FK, help, run. Run. The remaining 3 screamed and fled. The anchor panicked and threw his phone on the ground. Poof. A pool of blood covers the camera. The live broadcast ended abruptly. Jiang Fan looked ugly. It's too dangerous out there. Tang Zirao picked up the phone and put it down again. Unable to make up her mind several times, she was ashamed and helpless. I really have no choice. My parents happen to be away from home on a business trip, so I can't contact them at all now. The day before yesterday, all the food at home had been eaten. In the past 2 days, she could only drink cold drinks to satisfy her hunger. If you don't think of a way, you will just starve to death. Originally, she despised food and housing included, and felt that she could persevere and would rather starve to death than commit herself to such a despicable thing. Only after she was really hungry did Tang Zirao realize that all dignity was fake in the face of hunger. Under the fierce hunger, it seemed as if someone was rubbing her stomach endlessly with glass shards, which was extremely painful and endless. Tang Zirao endured it for another half hour, but she couldn't bear it anymore. She initiated a private chat again. Block C number 3201 Rouking. Can you really eat enough? Jiang Fan saw it, but didn't reply and deliberately left her alone. If you want to contact me, just contact me. If you don't want to contact me, just dive in. Beautiful thought, be hungry. Tang Zirao waited uneasily for more than 10 minutes, but there was still no response. She was desperate and lay on the bed tossing and turning. Another night of starvation. In a rental house not far from the fortune center, Song Yuanfan was lying lazily on the sofa playing with his mobile phone. Sister, I'm starving. Let's eat, okay? Song Shiban quickly stood up and opened the empty refrigerator, feeling increasingly panicked. All refrigerated and frozen food is gone. There are still a few packs of instant noodles, 2 boxes of lunch meat, and a few braised eggs left. This is the only food in the house. Song Shiban was very uneasy. What would Yuanfan do if he was hungry? He is the only child of the old Song family. Song Shiban thought for a while before taking out a pack of instant noodles and a braised egg. Instant noodles are ready quickly. Song Shiban divided the bowls into 2, leaving only a few mouthfuls of noodles for herself, and gave most of the noodles and braised eggs to her younger brother. Song Yuanfan plucked his rice bowl and said dissatisfiedly, Sister, that's all? I'm not full. Song Shiban whispered, Yuanfan, hold on, there is almost no food at home, nothing to eat. Song Yuanfan's face turned pale. Then what should we do? Sister, go buy some quickly. Buy? Where to buy? How could Song Shiban dare to go out? She glanced out the window with a grimace. It's all red mist. It's so scary. Yesterday she saw a mouse as big as a cat. In a hurry, she thought of her ex-boyfriend Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan was forced by Fatty Hu to buy a lot of food for the upcoming holidays. Why don't you take the initiative to give yourself something? Why is this man like this? Didn't I just break up with him? They don't even know how to give away some food, not even a man. Song Shiban secretly complained. Jiang Fan should have something to eat. When Song Yuanfan heard this, he immediately said, "Sister, what are you waiting for? Ask him for it. I'm starving. Let him deliver it to us." Good, Song. Xiaoyan felt upset when she thought of Jiang Fan's posts in the wealth center group looking for women. Damn it, Jiang Fan, how dare you find another woman? It's really not possible for a man to have a woman to take care of him. Is this going to change the world? Song Xiaoyan picked up her cell phone and called Jiang Fan angrily. Jiang Fan laughed when he saw it was Song Xiaoyan. He had nothing to do anyway, so he picked up the call. Jiang Fan. Song Xiaoyan's cold voice came, with a tone of questioning. Jiang Fan couldn't help but think of Song Xiaoyan again. She is pretty, but she keeps a straight face every day and pretends to be aloof, thinking about how stupid I was before. I was fascinated by this kind of green tea, Jiang Fan said coldly. What, Song? Poetry has a sound and authentic tone. Why don't you bring me something to eat? Jiang Fan sneered. After Song Xiaoyan graduated from college, she wanted to take the exam. Jiang Fan worked part-time at night and drove Didi during the day. He supported her for 3 years and finally passed the exam today. As a result, Song Xiaoyan turned around and kicked herself because she couldn't afford the 380,000 yuan gift, too. You? Who are you? Did we break up, Song? She's voice stopped and she panicked. She didn't expect Jiang Fan to disobey and shouted irrationally, Jiang Fan. Break up? I'm testing you. I didn't expect that you really couldn't stand the test and actually wanted to find another woman. Jiang Fan sneered. Test? There's no need for a test. I'm a commoner, but I can't afford a gift of 380,000 yuan. When talking about betrothal gifts, Song Xiaoyan also became angry. Do I care about money? What I care about is your attitude. Think about it yourself. Click. Jiang Fan hung up the phone. Dare you hang up on me? Song Xiaoyan was furious. Song Yuanfan said anxiously, Sister, here's the food. Song Xiaoyan suppressed her panic and pretended to be confident. Don't worry, Jiang Fan will call back. Jiang Fan didn't dare to speak loudly to him. As long as I show my intention of reconciliation, he won't be overjoyed. Song Xiaoyan convinced herself and became confident again. Song Yuanfan laughed. It turns out your boyfriend is a BCH. What kind of boyfriend? Song Xiaoyan disdained. I have already passed the civil service examination. How is it possible to fall in love with an unemployed convenience store clerk? Song Xiaoyan said in disgust. I'm just looking for him to order something to eat. How can he be worthy of me? Hey, sister, when he gives up, ask him to bring all the food over. Don't leave it for him. Well, this Jiang Fan is not stupid. He can't give it all to me. However, I should be able to get more than half of it. In this case, sister, you lie to him and say that after you heard the news, the officials will organize a large-scale rescue immediately. It is useless to leave too much food. Good. Chapter 4. Tang Zhao arrives at the door. The siblings waited for a long time, but the phone still didn't ring. Song Xiaoyan was no longer calm now, and felt a little anxious. Moreover, she had eaten very little in the past few days, and she was so hungry that she couldn't bear it anymore. What's going on with this kid? He doesn't have any eyesight. Didn't I give you a chance to go downhill? Huh? Okay, if you don't cherish the chance I gave you, don't blame me for being rude to you. Song Xiaoyan angrily picked up her cell phone and called Jiang Fan. The number you dialed is unavailable. Please confirm before dialing. Empty number. Song Xiaoyan was stunned for a moment before she came to her senses. Jiang Fan blocked me. Song Xiaoyan was furious. You still dare to scare me? You have grown up. Song Xiaoyan didn't believe in evil and tried to send a VX message to Jiang Fan. It turned out that he was also blocked. This time, she was completely confused and began to panic. Without Jiang Fan, where would she get food? Song Yuanfan also became anxious. This BD is still lying to women. If a woman really comes over, won't the food in Jiang Fan's house be consumed faster? That's all our food, Song Xiaoyan quickly said. Impossible. How can a woman be so stupid? How much food can he have? Who wants to be with a shop assistant if he doesn't have to starve after eating? If you ask me to think of a way, Jiang Fan will come back to me. I understand him, he is venting his anger. Jiang Fan blocked Song Xiaoyan, but deliberately kept her account in the group. When she shows off her food in the future, Song Xiaoyan won't be able to see how boring it will be the next day. Jiang Fan finished breakfast and stood by the window looking downstairs. The red mist is getting high again. A few days ago, The red mist only reached the height of the 20th floor, but today it has covered half of the windows on the 20th floor. Jiang Fan was secretly worried, how high will the red mist rise? Wouldn't it also cover the 30th layer? Jiang Fan did some push-ups and other exercises, worked up a sweat, took a shower, drank a bottle of iced Coke comfortably, and then turned on his phone to reply to Tang Zurao. Food and accommodation included. Okay. Come over. Tang Zurao waited all night, not daring to delay any longer, and quickly replied, can I go over now? Where do you live? Can you come and pick me up? I'm scared. Food and accommodation included. I know your address. You go out and wait now. I will pick you up right away. Tang Zurao was stunned for a moment. A few minutes later, Jiang Fan heard the click of the door opening. He looked out through the peephole and saw Tang Zurao walking out of the next room and carefully closing the door. Jiang Fan observed carefully, and after confirming that Tang Zurao was not armed, he opened the door and looked at her with interest. Tang Zurao looked at Li Anping warily and said with disgust, have you never seen a beautiful woman? Jiang Fan raised the corner of his mouth slightly and said, my food and accommodation are included. Tang Zurao opened her mouth wide, and then she became angry. Smelly loser, you lied to me. At this moment, the sound of sticky footsteps came from the stairwell, accompanied by heavy breathing, like a huge bellows. Phew, a monster is coming up from the red mist. Jiang Fan turned around and went home without hesitation. The door slammed shut. Tang Zurao didn't care to scold Jiang Fan. She turned around and wanted to open the door and go home quickly, but she dropped the key in her nervousness. The door of Tang Zurao's house was facing the door of the stairwell. The key was kicked hard on her foot, and then bounced into the stairwell, making a clanging sound. The monster heard the sound and its footsteps accelerated instantly. Tang Zurao's face suddenly turned pale. She turned around and rushed towards Jiang Fan's door, BG the door in panic and crying, let me in. Let me in. Help me. Jiang Fan was worried that she would attract the monster. He took a look and made sure that the monster hadn't come up yet. He opened the door suddenly and pulled her in. Ah! You hurt me. Tang Zurao screamed, shut up. Don't talk. Jiang Fan slammed her against the wall next to the door and looked out nervously through the peephole. At this time, a huge dog sprang out of the stairs. Woof woof woof. It looks like a thin dog, but is at least 1.5 meters tall and over 2.5 meters long. The muscles all over his body were tangled, his eyes were fierce, and his teeth were cold. The mutated dog sniffed randomly at the entrance of the corridor and gradually approached the door of Jiang Fan's house. Heavy breathing came in through the door. Tang Zurao was shaking so hard Jiang Fan also held his breath nervously. At this time, human screams came from downstairs. Woof woof woof. The mutated dog turned its head suddenly and ran down the stairs. Jiang Fan finally breathed a sigh of relief and had time to look at Tang Zurao. This was Jiang Fan's first close look at Tang Zurao in the past. When Tang Zurao saw Jiang Fan, she always looked at him with her chin. She has long hair, shawl, waist, fat hips, straight thighs, tight jeans. Tang Zurao replied to Leng Ao again in a safe environment. She crossed her arms, took a step back, and said with a cold face, I'm warning you, don't think too much. Jiang Fan has an average appearance and average height, only 175 centimeters. Tang Zurao is tall, measuring 169 centimeters tall. When she wears high heels, she is basically as tall as Jiang Fan. She would never take a serious look at a low-level man like Jiang Fan. Huh. Jiang Fan smiled brightly and slapped him with his hand. Snapped, it's the end of the world, and you're still playing this trick with me. Besides, you took the initiative to sell yourself, now you're just pretending. Tang Zurao covered her face and said in disbelief, how dare you hit me? Beat you? Jiang Fan took out the dagger with a loud noise and said calmly, turn your face and stand facing the wall. Tang Zurao looked at Senhin's dagger, and her face suddenly turned pale. You. Jiang Fan stared at her unkindly. I say it one last time, turn around and face the wall. Your back to me. Tang Zurao trembled and turned to face the wall, with her back to Jiang Fan, and said aggrievedly, can't I just turn around? Jiang Fan put the dagger against her waist and said coldly, hands up. Tang Zurao was frightened by the sharp tip of the knife. She was completely frightened and started crying, don't kill me, you can do whatever you want, don't kill me. Woo. Jiang Fan ignored her and carefully pinched her hair with one hand to make sure she didn't hide the razor blade in her hair. Then behind the ears, then comes the mouth. Jiang Fan's rough hands opened her teeth. Open your mouth. Tang Zurao's mind went blank. She didn't dare to resist. She opened her mouth obediently, tears flowing quietly. I felt pity for her. Jiang Fan didn't change his expression and searched carefully. There is no blade under the tongue either. It's the end of the world now, and he doesn't know if Tang Zurao has hidden agendas, so it's better to be careful. I exposed a lot of food in the group, which is definitely considered fat in the eyes of many people. Who knows if anyone wants to do something to me in the apocalypse. The most dangerous thing is the human heart. After checking his mouth, Jiang Fan's big hand went down armpit. The ravines between the mountain peaks further down. Every depression on Tang Zurao's body is a possible place to hide weapons. They were all carefully explored by Jiang Fan. No problem. Jiang Fan took back the dagger with satisfaction. Tang Zurao finally realized that the other party was searching her body, both shy and angry. I am a woman. Do you need to be so careful? However, the dagger in Jiang Fan's hand prevented her from speaking out or moving her body. She could only turn her face and glare at Jiang Fan bitterly. Gee, I have to say, this woman is beautiful, with perfect side profile. Hey, you're quite stubborn. Jiang Fan laughed, grabbed Tang Zurao's long hair on the back of her head, forced her head down and walked into the house. Ah! Don't use so much force. Tang Zurao cried out in pain and stumbled. Jiang Fan pushed her down on the sofa. Lie down and don't move. Chapter 5. You can buy unlimited supplies. Tang Zurao sat huddled in a corner of the sofa, staying as far away from Jiang Fan as possible, sobbing softly, feeling self-blaming, fearful, shy, and even a little angry. I was actually RD by a convenience store clerk. She shed tears of regret and looked at Jiang Fan with disgust. Jiang Fan hated Tang Zurao's look the most. He stepped forward and pinched Tang Zurao's chin and said coldly, "UBCH, are you crying?" Tang Zurao screamed and slapped Jiang Fan's hand away. "Don't touch me." Jiang Fan would not spoil her, so he simply took out the dagger. "Get out of here." Tang Zurao was startled, and then said in disbelief, "You said you would give me food. Did you lie to me?" Jiang Fan sneered, "So what if I lied to you? You call the police to arrest me." Tang Zurao looked at Jiang Fan in disbelief. She wanted to slam the door and leave immediately, but when she thought about there being no food at home, she would probably starve to death if she couldn't find anything to eat. She was desperate. Tang Zurao no longer dared to lose her temper. She could only lower her head and beg, "Please give me something to eat." By the way, this is the attitude of asking for help. Jiang Fan patted her cheek with satisfaction. Tang Zurao didn't dare to lose her temper anymore. She could only huddle in the corner of the sofa and watch Jiang Fan cry softly in horror. Jiang Fan turned his hand, and a piece of bread appeared in his palm. Tang Zurao was dumbfounded. However, the moment I saw the bread clearly, all thoughts disappeared. She hasn't eaten anything serious in 3 days. Tang Zurao rushed forward like a hungry dog and grabbed the bread. Then she paused because Jiang Fan raised the dagger. Tang Zurao said fearfully, "What are you going to do?" Jiang Fan raised the corner of his mouth and patted her cheek. "If you want to eat, you can. But don't cry, just smile for me." Tang Zurao shed tears in grievance, but still tried her best to smile. Jiang Fan dislikes, laughing is uglier than crying. "Smile more, pretty." Tang Zurao collapsed. "I even laughed. What else do you want? Why are you like this?" Before she finished speaking, Jiang Fan opened the window and threw the bread down. "If you can't laugh, then don't eat it." Tang Zurao screamed, "Don't throw it. Don't throw it." She threw herself to the window and looked desperately at the empty red mist below. There was no bread in sight. Tang Zurao collapsed. "If you have something to say it properly. Why throw it away?" Woohoo! Jiang Fan stretched out his hand, and a bag of bread appeared out of thin air. Tang Zurao stared at the bread stupidly. You can do magic." Jiang Fan did not answer her. "Do you want to eat?" Tang Zurao was so hungry that she couldn't care about anything else and nodded repeatedly. "Think." She took the initiative to put on a flattering smile. "Smart." Jiang Fan smiled slightly and threw the bread at her feet. "You can eat, but you have to kneel on the ground to eat. Aren't you arrogant? I specialize in treating pride." Tang Zurao couldn't accept it and said angrily, "No. I would rather starve to death." Jiang Fan pointed at the door. "Then you can go. I don't like forcing people." "You don't like forcing people." Tang Zurao's mentality collapsed again and she cried bitterly. "Why are you like this?" Jiang Fan was very calm. "Don't cry in mourning. Smile for me, make it look nice." Tang Zurao shouted angrily, "You can't control it." Jiang Fan tore open the bread, and the aroma of bread came out. Tang Zurao's crying stopped immediately. She stared at the bread, her eyes straightened, and she inhaled quickly through her nose. Jiang Fan said in a seductive voice, "Want to eat? Just kneel down." Tang Zhao was confused. Snap! Jiang Fan stepped on the bread. My bread. Tang Zhao felt like she was stepping on her heart, and her heart was about to break. Jiang Fan slowly crushed the bread and said calmly, "Do you want to eat? If not, I will throw it in the trash can." Tang Zhao completely lost the courage to resist. She knelt on the ground with a bang, crying while eating. She felt that her self-esteem, like bread, was being trampled under Jiang Fan's feet. Jiang Fan kicked her to the ground and said coldly, "I said, smile." Tang Zhao was so aggrieved that she could only hold back her tears with difficulty and squeeze out a smile. Jiang Fan dislikes, it's so ugly to cry. Let's forget it this time. If you cry so ugly next time, don't even think about eating it. Tang Zhao didn't care what Jiang Fan said and stuffed bread into her mouth. Desperately, woohoo, he's a devil. Woohoo, so delicious. Ling. Tang Zhao consumes one piece of bread and gets 200 pieces back. It has been put into the portable space. Jiang Fan was secretly happy this bread was a replica that Song Shiin returned to him after eating it. Sure enough, even if a woman eats the replica bread, she will return it. In this way, you can get unlimited supplies. Jiang Fan looked at the 200 new breads in the space and felt very good. From now on, I will never be short of food again. But now the magnification is not high enough. Moreover, Tang Zhao has too few women. If she dies, there will be no one to help her wash the food. I have to keep looking for more women. After Tang Zhao finished eating, her stomach finally felt much better. She looked at Jiang Fan timidly. Her eyes were red, and she was a little scared now. This man is like a devil. Jiang Fan raised his finger. A bottle of pure water appeared out of thin air in Tang Zhao's arms. She was startled. Is this magic? No, this is a superpower. Tang Zhao thought of the fitness coach in the group with glowing muscles. This man should also have acquired some kind of superpower, probably the ability to store space. This kind of ability can be a life-saving weapon in the end of the world. Tang Zhao was filled with envy, and she couldn't help but have some expectations in her heart. Maybe you can live longer by following him. Unknowingly, Tang Zhao's mentality changed slightly. Jiang Fan smiled. Drink. Tang Zhao is not too thirsty now. The water and electricity have not been stopped, and there is no food. She can only drink plenty of cold drinks, but she didn't dare to refute, so she opened it and took a sip. Ling. Tang Zhao consumes one bottle of pure water, and 200 bottles will be returned. It has been placed in the portable space. I see. Jiang Fan was secretly happy. It turns out that she doesn't need to finish the drink. She only needs to take one sip to consume it and then return it. I can completely let women waste it unscrupulously to quickly produce a large amount of supplies. Jiang Fan continued to test the system's capabilities. He took out another pack of unopened tissue paper and handed it to Tang Zhao. Don't cry, it's too ugly. Wipe your tears. Tang Zhao did not dare to resist, so she tore open the package and took out a piece of paper to wipe her cheeks clean. However, Jiang Fan didn't hear the system prompt. If it's not food supplies, can't they be returned? Jiang Fan was thoughtful. Chapter 6 Black Lychee, Superpower Fruit. Jiang Fan walked into the master bedroom. This was a 3-bedroom suite that Jiang Fan shared with 2 women. Jiang Fan rented the smallest bedroom and the cheapest one. The other 2 female roommates both worked during the day, and it was daytime when the red mist came, and they were all trapped in the company. Jiang Fan unceremoniously took the belongings of his 2 female roommates as his own. This is the room of a female roommate named Heejin. Heejin is average looking, but she is proficient in makeup. After she puts on makeup, it is like changing her hair. From a 5-point female score, it instantly became a 9-point score. Heejin often brings men back. Her private life is very chaotic, and she has no peace every night. For this reason, Heejin often had conflicts with another aloof female roommate named Suen Yuo. Jiang Fan didn't care, since he had to be on duty at night anyway and wasn't at home at all. As expected, Jiang Fan found Yu Ting in Heejin's bedside table. He took out 2 pills and handed them to Tang Zhao. Eat it. Tang Zhao asked fearfully. What's this? Jiang Fan said calmly. Contraceptive pills. You don't want to get pregnant in this environment, right? Tang Zhao was so ashamed that she swallowed it with pure water obediently. Ling. Tang Zhao consumes 2 Yuting pills from the host and gets 400 pills back. It has been put into the portable space. Medication can also be used. Is it okay as long as it's food? Jiang Fan took out a new bag of washing powder and ordered, "Go wash my dirty clothes." Tang Zhao didn't dare to refuse, so she could only carry the washing powder into the bathroom. Jiang Fan looked at her calmly. Tang Zhao tore open the washing powder and started washing clothes. Still haven't heard the prompt to return the laundry detergent. Moreover, Tang Zhao consumes tap water for washing clothes, and there is no reminder to return it. Can I only return the food I ate? But the system's explanation is the materials consumed by the host woman will be returned to the host. Why? Not just say food consumed. Jiang Fan secretly guessed for a while, but had no clue the details of the system still need to be slowly explored. He lay down on the sofa and turned on his phone to watch videos. Tang Zirao naturally wanted to continue washing clothes. Even a beautiful woman cannot be kept in vain. If you want to eat, you have to work. Still no good news online. More and more people are uploading videos of ground exploration. Plants all over the world have become extremely huge, and ordinary lawns have grown taller and taller in some cities. The grass is even taller than people. The stadium turf became like a cornfield. Countless huge insects hide inside. Extremely dangerous. Suddenly, Jiang Fan came across a video of a person with superpowers. A middle-aged man who looks very honest demonstrates lightning powers in front of the camera. The middle-aged man brought 2 fingers closer, and the air between them suddenly sparkled with electricity. Jiang Fan looked very envious. Finally, the middle-aged man said, "There was a black fruit growing on a weed next to my house, which looked very much like a lychee. Yesterday I was so hungry that I couldn't stand it, so I ate it, and then I got the lightning power. I think if you find a black lychee, you can also try it." The number of video views is only a few hundred, but there are a lot of comments, real or fake. This guy has no good intentions. Black lychee? It doesn't sound like something edible. Nowadays, plants are mutating and growing randomly. Who dares to eat them? Black lychees growing on weeds. Jiang Fan turned his head and looked at the window sill. There are 2 black lychees hanging on the pot of succulents. Can you gain lightning powers by eating this? Jiang Fan didn't dare to try it easily. Who knows what the purpose of this man is? As the apocalypse approaches, people's hearts are filled with uncertainty and rumors are flying everywhere anyway. Even if he lies, no one can catch him. Moreover, Jiang Fan was not sure whether it was the black lychee that person mentioned. At this moment, the phone suddenly prompted, "This video is suspected of violating regulations and has been removed from the shelves." Huh? Jiang Fan is a little more convinced this time. This reaction speed is obviously abnormal. It should not be blocked by the platform. Could it be that the country is really covering up something? Jiang Fan narrowed his eyes, and after thinking for a while, he put on rubber gloves and walked to the potted plants, and carefully picked off one of the black lychees. Jiang Fan put the black lychees in the bowl, carefully took off his gloves and threw them out of the window, and then walked into the bathroom with the bowl in hand. Tang Zirao was washing clothes. Jiang Fan put the bowl in front of her. "Have eaten. If it was poisonous, Tang Zirao would also die." There are so many beauties in the apocalypse that Jiang Fan won't feel sorry for them. For a second Tang Zirao looked at the black fruit on the bowl in horror. What is this? Eat it. Jiang Fan continued without explaining. Tang Zirao shook her head and took a step back, fearfully saying, "I will not eat." Jiang Fan took out his dagger and said coldly, "I said, eat it." Tang Zirao's face was pale and she could only pick it up tremblingly. Black lychees look weird no matter how they look. Tang Zirao didn't want to eat at all, but looking at the dagger shining in front of her, she could only accept her fate and eat it. Tang Zirao consumes 1 enlightenment fruit perception, and 200 fruits will be returned. It has been put into the portable space. Enlightenment fruit perception 1 star. After eating, you can gain sensory abilities. Eating the same fruit repeatedly has a chance of improving the star rating. Jiang Fan was overjoyed. Superpower fruit. It's really a superpower fruit. That man didn't lie. It's just that the ability seems to be different from that of Lightning Man. The ability of his own is perception. It seems the abilities of each fruit are random. Jiang Fan asked, "How do you feel?" Tang Zirao was stunned for a while and then said blankly, I seem to see your body glowing. It's light yellow. What is this? It really worked. Jiang Fan laughed. "This is a superpower fruit. If you eat it, you can gain superpowers." Ah! Tang Zirao was shocked. Are superpowers obtained by eating fruits? The news about superpowers is abuzz on the internet. It turned out to be eating fruit. This thing must be very precious. Why did he give it to me? Tang Zirao couldn't help but be a little touched. She felt that although Jiang Fan was a little rough just now, he didn't seem that bad. "Thank you." Jiang Fan stretched out his hand, and another black lychee appeared in his hand. "I have plenty of these. If you work hard in the future, I can reward you with a few more. By the way, how do you feel about it?" Tang Zirao nodded gratefully. "It's very tiring to turn on this ability. I can't hold on for long. I have to turn it off." After saying that, Tang Zirao breathed a sigh of relief and seemed to turn off her perception ability, but no change could be seen from the outside. Is it still a waste of energy? Jiang Fan thought to himself. peeled off the black lychee and ate the pulp. The pulp is sweet and sour and very delicious. Boom. Jiang Fan's brain seemed to have broken some kind of shackles. The world has changed. The green ones are greener and the red ones are redder. He looked out the window and seemed to see more details, just like the evolution from 480p to 4K. Jiang Fan looked at Tang Zhao again, and she was glowing with a faint red light. Jiang Fan looked at his body, but it glowed green, but the brightness is slightly brighter than Tang Zhao. What do the colors represent? Jiang Fan was curious at this time. The system prompts, perception. 1 star, you can see how friendly the target is to you. Yellow represents neutrality, red represents hostility, and green represents friendliness. The brightness of the light indicates the target's life strength. Perception distance. 2 meters. Jiang Fan was secretly happy. This is a good skill. You can see if the other party is hostile. It seems that this woman Tang Zhao still doesn't give up. Jiang Fan also felt that his physical strength was being consumed rapidly, as if he was running at the fastest speed. He could only hold on for a few minutes at most. Jiang Fan immediately turned off his perception, took out another black lychee and ate it. The system reminds you that if you eat the same fruit repeatedly, you have a chance to increase your star rating. After eating, there was no reaction. Jiang Fan took out another one soon. He ate 7 or 8 pills in a row. Tang Zhao was dumbfounded. Why does he have so many? Are superpower fruits so worthless? When Jiang Fan ate the 12th pill, he finally changed. His vision seemed to be much clearer. Inspiration has been upgraded to 2 stars. The perception range has been increased to 5 meters. Chapter 7. The power of the second fruit. The range has increased. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. He immediately opened his perception. 2 more changes were discovered. 1. This kind of perception can pass through walls. Jiang Fan could sense the potted plant on the windowsill, but there was a wall between him and the potted plant. 2. The light is no longer a ball of spherical light, but begins to vaguely show the shape of a succulent plant. Jiang Fan looked at Tang Zhao, and the light on her body also vaguely showed the shape of her body. When he walked to the bedroom, he could still see Tang Zhao's light in the bathroom through the wall. In addition, he can see the situation in the neighbors' homes upstairs, downstairs, and on the left and right sides. The first floor of the building is just over 3 meters. Jiang Fan stood on the floor and could clearly see a woman sitting on the sofa in the room downstairs, checking her cell phone. Once the light has an outline, men and women can be distinguished by the shape of their chests and crotches. The light on the woman is weak and appears neutral yellow. The room above Jiang Fan was empty. On the right is Tang Zhao's house, which is empty. The neighbor's room on the left is also empty. It was daytime. When the red mist fell, most people were working outside, and most of the people in the room were empty. This thing is a map radar, so useful. Jiang Fan was surprised. I just don't know if it can penetrate the red mist. Jiang Fan continued to eat the fruit of perception. This time, I ate more than 50 pills, and I was almost full, so I got 3 stars. It seems that the higher the star, the lower the chance. Perception upgraded to 3 stars. Perception range increased to 15 meters. From 5 meters to 15 meters, the radius triples, but the volume increases 27 times. Jiang Fan felt that his vision suddenly became brighter. Fortune Center is a tower building with 8 units on one floor. The floor Jiang Fan is on is the sub-top floor centered on the 32nd floor where Jiang Fan is located. The highest level is the 33rd floor, and the lowest is the 27th floor. A total of 56 households, all exposed to his field of vision. After the perception was upgraded to 3 stars, the light was no longer a blur, but turned into a clear outline of the target. Jiang Fan can even distinguish between men and women. 1, 2, 3, there are 56 households, 13 rooms are occupied, a total of 21 people, 12 women and 9 men. Jiang Fan counted silently. In addition, he also discovered that among all these people, only himself and Tang Zhao's light clusters were very bright, far more dazzling than the others. However, the light group in his body was brighter, while Tang Zhao's was dimmer. It should be the result of the awakening of superpowers. None of the others are superpowers, so the light is even dimmer. In addition, he also saw a huge dog, curled up and sleeping in a room on the 28th floor. It should be the mutant dog from before. The light on the mutated dog is very bright. If Jiang Fan's light was as bright as a candle, the mutant dog is as bright as a flashlight. Jiang Fan watched the mutated dog very cautiously. He would never go out before he was sure. Jiang Fan started to exercise push-ups, sit-ups, squats with weights. When the end of the world comes, physical fitness is the most important thing when running for your life. As long as you can outrun other people, your chances of survival will be greater. It would be nice to have a treadmill. Jiang Fan thought secretly while exercising, but there's no telling when the power will be cut off or get a bicycle machine. Tang Zhao curled up on the bed, silently in a daze. Too many things happened today, and her virginity, which she had retained for more than 20 years, was taken away by a man, which made her think a lot. Tang Zhao couldn't help but think of Jiang Fan. This man is simply a moody devil. You say he is okay, he's extremely cruel to women, has no mercy at all, and his butt is still a little sore to this day. If you say he is not good, just throw a superpower fruit to yourself. Although Jiang Fan's words were unpleasant, Tang Zhao really couldn't hate him for doing so. It's the end of the world now. What's the use of a man talking nicely? Tang Zhao unknowingly took out her phone again. There isn't any good news. Online mutations are happening everywhere. The country still has no plan for large-scale rescue. They also appealed for self-help online, but people are starving to death. How can they save themselves? Tang Zhao was very desperate at this time. Jiang Fan opened the door and walked in. Tang Zhao was so frightened that she quickly stood up. Brother Jiang, what's going on? Jiang Fan took out a black lychee and chuckled. I'm in a good mood today, so I'll give you another one. This fruit is another one from that succulent plant. When Tang Zhao saw that it was a superpower fruit, she was immediately overjoyed and thanked her repeatedly. Thank you, Brother Jiang. Thank you, Brother Jiang. The green light on her body became more intense, and no other colors could be seen at all. Tang Zhao ate it quickly. Tang Zhao consumes 1 enlightenment fruit, physique strengthening, and 200 fruits will be returned. It has been put into the portable space. Enlightenment fruit, physique strengthening. 1 star. After consumption, it can enhance the overall physical fitness. Eating the same fruit repeatedly has a chance of improving the star rating. After Tang Zhao finished eating, she looked at herself in surprise. I seem to have become stronger. She couldn't wait to try to lift the bedside table, and she lifted it easily. Old God, Jiang Fan said, this is physical strengthening, which can improve your physical fitness. Tang Zhao was overjoyed. Immediately afterwards, she discovered that some black substances were discharged from her skin, which looked very dirty. Tang Zhao loves to be clean, so she hurried to the bathroom to take a shower. This thing is very similar to the legendary menstrual cleansing and marrow cutting. Jiang Fan thought to himself. He turned his hand and a handful of physical strengthening fruits appeared. Jiang Fan ate one without hesitation. For a moment, Jiang Fan felt that his whole body was full of strength and energy, as if he could punch through the floor with one punch. This feeling of suddenly becoming stronger is so exciting. No wonder Tang Zhao was so excited just now. Physique enhancement. 1 star, comprehensive physique plus 5. The property panel function is turned on. Properties panel. Jiang Fan immediately clicked on the attributes panel in his mind. Very simple, only 2 lines. Jiang Fan comprehensive physical fitness. 15, average 10 for ordinary adults. Damn it, increased physical fitness by half in an instant. Without saying a word, Jiang Fan took out a handful of physical strengthening fruits and started eating them. As for the black dirt on his body, he didn't care at all. He would just wash it after a while. 1, 2, 3, this time I ate more than 30 pills before I heard the prompt. Physical enhancement is upgraded to 2 stars. Comprehensive physical fitness plus 15. Jiang Fan felt relaxed and ecstatic all over. Keep eating. Being strong is the greatest guarantee of survival in the apocalypse. Immediately afterwards, Jiang Fan ate more than 100 pills, almost vomiting, before he was promoted to 3 stars. Physical enhancement is upgraded to 3 stars. Comprehensive physical fitness plus 40. After 3 stars, Jiang Fan's body shape also experienced some changes. 8 steel-like muscles bulged out from his abdomen, and the muscles all over his body were like steel bars twisted together, full of explosive power. 10 for ordinary people, 50 for me, 5 times that of ordinary people. Jiang Fan discovered that in addition to his basic physical abilities, his 5 senses, speed, and reaction speed had all been enhanced. Jiang Fan tried the perceived energy consumption again, and found that the physical energy consumption he felt was almost invisible. Just like walking normally, I can last at least 10 hours or even longer. It seems that the physical fitness has been improved to 5 times than before, but the effect is far more than 5 times. In addition, Jiang Fan also found that the light on his body was much brighter, even brighter than the mutant drug on the 28th floor. Jiang Fan began to carefully test the changes in his body. In addition to becoming stronger in physical strength, physical strength has also become much stronger. Jiang Fan stretched out his hand and tried it on his arm, using a little force to bulge out the muscles, which were like tough rubber. Jiang Fan used a little force and punched the wall. Boom! The latex paint on the wall was actually cracked. Jiang Fan was pleasantly surprised. He only felt a shock in his arm and no pain at all. He punched a few times with all his strength. Boom, boom. Large swaths of latex paint fell off, revealing the cracked hollow bricks inside. Jiang Fan still didn't feel too much pain, just a little bit of pain. He stretched out his hand to grab a hollow brick, closed his fingers like iron pliers, and dug his fingers deeply into the hollow brick. Click. He pulled hard. Wow, a hollow brick was pulled out by force. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8. He actually still has steak to eat. Jiang Fan was overjoyed. This is like tearing down a wall with bare hands. Tang Zhao just finished taking a shower, and everyone was dumbfounded. Is that human being? Jiang Fan must have eaten a lot of physical strengthening fruits. Tang Zhao was filled with envy. Her hostility toward Jiang Fan disappeared a lot, and she only felt a strong sense of security. She had been in constant panic since the red mist came, and now it has finally dissipated a lot. Jiang Fan took out the dagger and lightly scratched his arm. No trace. Jiang Fan exerted a little force, which was probably equivalent to the ultimate strength of an ordinary person. His arm felt a slight sting, leaving white scratches, but the skin was still intact. Ha. Ha ha ha, cold. Weapons basically no longer threaten me. Jiang Fan was in a good mood and hugged Tang Zhao with one hand. Tang Zhao exclaimed and fried. Jiang Fan first took out a perception fruit and a physical strengthening fruit. Eat it. I'll be in a good mood. I'll reward you. Tang Zhao asked expectantly, what ability is this? Jiang Fan explained, it's still about strengthening your perception and physique. If you eat it repeatedly, your perception ability may be upgraded and activate stronger effects, but how many pills you eat to upgrade depends on your luck. It can be upgraded. Tang Zhao happily ate it. Unfortunately, there was no upgrade this time. Tang Zhao was a little disappointed. Then he started looking forward to it. As long as he met Jiang Fan's requirements, he could keep eating and he would be able to upgrade sooner or later. She's not stupid, of course. We understand how much chance of survival supernatural powers can bring in the apocalypse. Ling. Tang Zhao consumes 1 enlightenment fruit perception, and 200 fruits will be returned. It has been put into the portable space. Ling. Tang Zhao consumes 1 enlightenment fruit physique strengthening, and 200 fruits will be returned. It has been put into the portable space. It's a pity that she didn't upgrade after eating it. Jiang Fan didn't care and took out a lot of food: instant noodles, self-heating hot pot, packaged steak, chocolate, as well as Coke and Sprite. These foods were all junk food before the end of the world, and Tang Zhao wouldn't even take a look at them. Now take this time out and it will become a treasure. Tang Zhao's mouth opened wide. This, so much? She had been hungry for several days. She had only eaten some bread just now and was not very hungry at all. I was exhausted after another long night of hard work, and now I see so many delicious foods that my mouth is almost watering. Eat it, Jiang Fan said with a smile, and Tang Zhao couldn't wait to eat it. Ling. Tang Zhao consumes 1 chocolate from the host and gets 200 chocolates back. It has been put into the portable space. Ling. Tang Zhao consumes a piece of steak from the host and gets 200 pieces back. It has been put into the portable space. Ling. Tang Zhao consumes a bottle of Coke from the host, and 200 bottles will be returned. It has been placed in the portable space. Jiang Fan took out more food and piled the table full. Then he took out his mobile phone, took a few photos, and sent them to the group. Food and accommodation included. Add everyone, looking for beautiful women. Food and accommodation included. Private chat with those who are willing, and full-body selfie photos without beauties first. Image. The table is covered with food. The self-heating hot pot is steaming hot. Steaks, luncheon meats, and fish balls are piled high, and there are also a lot of chocolates, Cokes, and Sprite beside them, which makes you appetite at first sight. In addition, a woman with long hair and shawl was kneeling on the ground, and Jiang Fan's big feet were comfortably stretched into her arms. The group was excited. Block A number 1201 Junjie from afar. Damn it. It's so luxurious. Block C number 2707 Xiaoping. There's actually steak. Handsome guy, give me some. I only want half. Block B number 1808 Sun Jianmin, director of the sub-district office. If you take apart a dozen steaks at a time, can you finish them? It's such a waste. Block B number 1808 Sun Jianmin, Director of the sub-district office, young people, this is a critical moment. We should work together to overcome the difficulties. Food should be taken out and distributed together. It is shameful to waste food. Block. A number 1708 Zhou Xian Hao Yuan Xingjian Gym Coach, boy, give me a share of the food and I will keep you safe. Picture, Zhou Xian Hao once again showed off his glowing muscles. Building B number 809 has been called handsome boy since he was a child. Brother, give me instant noodles, I will pay 100 yuan. Block. A number 705 Aunt Zhang, little girls, don't be fooled. This guy can't save much food at all. He will finish it quickly with such waste. Let's see what he does. Some young women were just tempted when they saw Aunt Zhang's words and suddenly woke up. Yes, how much food can he have in his hand? Aren't they all saved before? That's right. When the food is gone, you will still be hungry if you follow him. Jimmy's, will this kind of trash man let you go when the time comes? Think clearly, isn't this considered R? Why don't you call the police? I called the police, but I can't get through. The line has been busy for the past few days. However, there are still some people who wonder, if Bao has very little food in his hands, can he be so wasteful? Jiang Fan smiled and said nothing while reading the news. He's too lazy to argue. Let's do whatever you want. Food spoils quickly anyway. You will still bow your head. It's not me who's hungry. Tutu, who had not spoken for a long time, jumped out again. Tutu number 303 in Block A, that woman must be an ugly girl. In the photo, Tang Zhao has her head lowered and her back to the camera, and her face cannot be seen. Jiang Fan smiled and said to Tang Zhuju, come on, smile. Tang Zhao didn't understand why, and she showed a perfect smile. Obediently clicked. Jiang Fan took a photo and posted it to the group again. Food and accommodation included. Picture, it's over, everyone knows that I'm at Jiang Fan's house. Tang Zhao was so ashamed and felt so wrong that she wanted to cry. The group immediately exploded. Damn it. Beautiful girl, who is this? I seem to have seen him several times in the community. The beauty seems to be named Tang Zhao. Yes. Director Tang's daughter. This kid is crazy. He even dares to touch Director Tang's daughter. This kid is dead. Some people rejoiced in others' misfortunes, while others threatened and lured them. But Jiang Fan ignored them all. After eating and drinking, he returned to the bedroom and looked at the holes in the wall. Behind the wall is Tang Zhao's house. Tang Zhao lost her key and now she can't go home. I can definitely dig a hole in it if you drill holes all the way through. As long as you avoid the load-bearing walls, you can connect all the houses on this floor together. Moreover, this method will not damage the door, nor does it need to break the glass of the balcony window, so it cannot be seen from the outside. In this way, if you encounter irresistible danger, you can quickly escape to other rooms if the door is blocked. You can also leave quietly through the front door of another house. Jiang Fan made up his mind and punched the wall. Boom, boom. A few minutes later, Jiang Fan opened a big hole and got in. Tang Zhao looked at Jiang Fan dumbfounded. Isn't he too strong? She suddenly panicked. How can I stand such a powerful man? It is said that there are only exhausted oxen and no damaged land. Stop talking. That's such a fierce cow you've never seen before. Jiang Fan got through the hole in the wall and patted the dust off his body. The decoration of Tang Zhao's house is indeed much better than that of Jiang Fan's shared house. Solid wood floors, stone walls, various exquisite electrical appliances, and tall furniture all look expensive at first glance. Tang Zhao also came over. Back at home, she relaxed a little. Jiang Fan walked around the room and said with satisfaction, your home is nice. We will live here from now on. Chapter 9 Fatty Who, now is a good opportunity for you to lose weight. Hule, the owner of the convenience store, stared at the news in the group. Tang Zhao. He was so jealous that he wanted to get angry. He didn't dare to think that Tang Zhao, who was so white and rich, would be deceived by Jiang Fan. As the owner of a convenience store, he knew that, food and accommodation included, was Jiang Fan. This group was originally a convenience store delivery group. Hule said jealously, I gave Jiang Fan a lot of things at half price to him. Unexpectedly, it has now become Jiang Fan's life-saving magic weapon. Hule's fiancée Su Mengqian is very beautiful. Even though her pretty face turns pale from hunger, she still looks a bit haggard. Su Mengqian was surprised when she heard this and said, did you give it to me? Ask him for it. Who? Lei was confused. It was true that he forced Jiang Fan to buy these last-minute foods, but in this situation, as long as Jiang Fan is not stupid, it is impossible to sell it to him. Su Mengqian's beautiful eyes widened with anger and she cursed, you useless thing is worse than a store clerk. He said that, He stretched out his legs and kicked him hard. Hule was embarrassed, not daring to resist, and said with a dogged smile, "Baby, be gentle, don't twist your feet." Hule felt that he was lucky to marry a beauty of Su Menqian's level. He usually tolerated Su Menqian's beatings and scoldings, so how could he dare to resist? Su Menqian is his goddess. The two of them were getting married soon, but Su Menqian wouldn't even let him touch her. She said she would save her body until they got married, and she would only hold hands at most. Hule was very happy about Su Menqian's request. "I am so lucky to be able to marry such a traditional girl, hmph." Su Menqian snorted coldly and said, "Hule, I've been starving and thin these past few days. Now there's no food at home. What else can I do if I don't know how to buy some? Do you want me to starve to death with you?" In the past few days, Hule gave as much food to Su Menqian as possible and only ate the minimum amount of food himself. His figure has become noticeably thinner. Even so, the two of them ate the last piece of ham at noon today. "If we don't think of a way, we will run out of food." "No. You can't starve to death, baby." Hule was anxious, looking at Su Menqian's delicate face lovingly, and gritted his teeth. "I'll buy it from him right now." Hule quickly called Jiang Fan. Jingle bell. When Jiang Fan saw it was Fatty Hu, the owner of the convenience store, he knew what he wanted to do. The food certainly can't be beat by this boss. Fatty Hu would come up with excuses to deduct Jiang Fan's salary every now and then, whether the glass was not wiped clean or there was dust on the floor. When they really couldn't find fault, they forced Jiang Fan to buy expired food and use the expired food to offset his salary. If he didn't buy it, he wouldn't be paid. Even when wages are paid, they are often in arrears for more than 10 days. Jiang Fan was so angry that if Song Shibai hadn't been short of money to prepare for the exam, he would have quit working long ago. "Since you delivered it to my door, don't blame me." Jiang Fan thought of the beautiful proprietress Su Menqian, and there was a faint flame rising in his heart. Before, Fatty Hu often showed off to himself that Su Menqian was prettier than Song Shibai and very good. "Su Menqian is indeed beautiful. It's mine now." Jiang Fan sneered and answered the phone. "Fat Hu, why are you looking for me?" Hule was so angry when he heard this. "How dare you call me Fatty Hu directly?" He is 189 centimeters and weighs 250 pounds. He usually hates being called fat. He has become more sensitive since being criticized by Su Menqian for being fat, but now is not the time to argue with Jiang Fan. "When I get your food back, I'm going to slap you in the face." Hule suppressed his anger and said, "Zio Jiang, you must have a lot of food at home. Sell me half of it." "Sell it to you? You're thinking shit." Jiang Fan sneered, deliberately teasing him. "Oh? How much did you give me?" Hule said carelessly, "I sold it to you at half price before, but now I buy it back at the original price. How about it? You made a lot of money." Jiang Fan burst out laughing and cursed happily. "Fat Hu, are you really evil? What was the situation when you sold it to me? What's the situation now? It's the end of the world." "Fatty, it's the end of the world now. You still want to buy it at the original price? What the hell are you doing?" Hule was also angry. "If I hadn't asked you to buy it, would you have so much food now? You have to thank me. You can't forget your roots." "Thank you so much?" Jiang Fan exclaimed. "You fat man, just stay home and starve. Did your wife ask you to lose weight? Now is a good opportunity for you to lose weight. Come on, grass." Hule was furious. "Jiang, don't get carried away. If you don't sell me anything, I will send the location of your home to the building to see if you can keep those things. You still dare to threaten me?" Jiang Fan's eyes flashed with a sharp light. "Fat Hu, don't talk nonsense. Bring your wife to me in exchange for food, or you can crawl on me." Snapped. The phone was hung up. Jiang Fan, you want to die, Fatty? Hu was so angry that he almost exploded on the spot. His wife was his darling, and he was reluctant to touch her at ordinary times. Jiang Fan actually dares to take advantage of his wife. Su Menqian's thoughts suddenly changed. She didn't like Hule in the first place, but his family was rich and Hule had a weak personality that was easy to manipulate. Su Menqian has been thinking about how to get all Hule's property into her own hands after getting married, and then get divorced. Times have changed now. Hule doesn't even count as shit. The boss is the one who has something to eat. That kid Jiang Fan is worth much more. I know Jiang Fan's character and should be relatively easy to control, otherwise he wouldn't have been fooled by his girlfriend into being so confused that he actually worked to support his girlfriend and taking the public examination for 3 years. Stupid, how ridiculous. Sure enough, as soon as that BCH Song Shibai came ashore, She turned around and kicked Jiang Fan away at that time. Jiang Fan was still very disappointed. Su Mengqian was very disdainful. What was there to lose? People who don't care for themselves will be destroyed by heaven and earth. Childish. Su Mengqian was very disdainful and made calculations in her mind. I'm much prettier than Song Shiyan. With just a few tricks, I can make Jiang Fan fall in love with me and then control all the food in my hands. Relying on Jiang Fan's food, I will be able to survive for a long time until the country comes to rescue me. Su Mengqian didn't realize it herself, but she was still very jealous of Song Shiyan in her heart. That woman, who is obviously not as beautiful as me, was able to hook up with a handsome guy like Jiang Fan. The most important thing is that Song Shiyan was able to trick Jiang Fan into supporting her for 3 years so that she could be admitted to the civil service. This made Su Mengqian very unbalanced mentally compared with the sunny and handsome Jiang Fan. Hule is like a black bear. This is also the reason why she has never let Hule touch her. Hule is so ugly. If it weren't for Hule's money, she wouldn't be engaged to Hule. Hule picked up his mobile phone and wanted to send the address of food and lodging included to the group, but Su Mengqian held him down. Don't say it. If others know who he is, his food will no longer belong to us. Hule was furious and said loudly, we can't get it now either. Su Mengqian's eyes widened. You have turned against me. How dare you talk to me like that? Hule was immediately discouraged and cautiously smiled and said, baby, aren't I angry? That boy dared to take advantage of you. Humph. Su Mengqian said angrily, can I not be angry? How dare a shop assistant even think about me? He doesn't even look at whether he's worthy of it. Yes. Hule nodded like a fool. So I have to announce his location so that he can't have an easy time. You're stupid. Even if he is robbed by others, we won't be able to get food. Wouldn't we still be hungry? Su Mengqian sneered, and then said, how about this? I'll go accompany him. No. Hule jumped up immediately and said anxiously, Jiang, you can't be fooled by him. Su Mengqian glared. Hule, you spoke to me loudly again. Hule shut up and felt impatient. Jiang, I'm worried about you. He must be a liar. Wait until I finish. Su Mengqian snorted coldly, with a sharp light in her eyes. You hide where no one can see. As soon as he opens the door, I will block the door, and then you rush in and steal all his things. Chapter 10 Rob Jiang Fan's house 2. Robbing. Hule trembled and said timidly, that's illegal. It's useless. Su Mengqian despises her fiancé more and more. Although she is tall and strong, she is as cowardly as a little girl. Su Mengqian said angrily, then what should we do? Are we both going to starve to death? Then I'd better go and accompany him. No. Hule resisted weakly. Heartbroken, Hule really couldn't accept giving his beloved woman to someone else, but he was also a little scared when he was asked to rob. If you have money and a beautiful wife, you will definitely be arrested by the police after the robbery. Your property and beautiful wife will be cheap to others. What a waste. Su Mengqian was disdainful. She is a very shrewd woman in times of peace. She chose Hule because he was rich yet soft-tempered and easy to control, but times have changed now. She knew that if she followed such a coward man in the last days, she would be dead. If a beautiful woman like herself does not have a strong backer in troubled times, she will definitely end up badly. Starving to death is the most comfortable thing. Su Mengqian thought of the punishments used by men against women in movies, and couldn't help but shudder, and continued to stimulate Hule. Don't worry, I'll give you half of the food I exchanged. Jiang still loves me. Hule trembled all over. That's not what I meant. No, it really can't. Su Mengqian stared and said, this won't work, that won't work either. What do you think we should do? Are we just waiting to starve to death? Hule didn't dare to speak. He was so confused that for a moment he wanted to rush into Jiang Fan's house and snatch his things, but I was too scared. After a while, I thought, why don't Jiang follow Jiang Fan? At least Jiang can't starve to death, and she can get some food with her. But thinking about it this way, I feel so depressed that I feel like a fire is burning. Su Mengqian then coldly expressed her true thoughts. I'm going to Jiang Fan now. Hule suddenly raised his head. His eyes were blood red, veins popped out on his forehead, and he begged. Jiang, seeing that he was about to lose control, Su Mengqian was afraid that Hule would get angry, so she quickly patted his shoulder and comforted him. Don't worry. I won't let him touch me. You know I have experience in controlling men. As soon as the words came out of her mouth, she consciously made a mistake. Hule was confused. Baby, what do you mean by this? Do you treat me too? He immediately thought of himself. He had never really touched Su Menqian, and he felt a little dissatisfied. Su Menqian's heart tightened, and she quickly turned around and slapped Hu Lei. Snapped. This slap directly interrupted Hu Lei's anger. Hu Lei covered his face and asked confusedly, "Baby, why did you hit me?" Su Menqian pointed at Hu Lei's nose and cursed with red eyes. What are you thinking about? I'm not doing this for both of us, you useless man. I can only sell myself to you in exchange for food, and you still doubt my motives. Hu Lei, I was engaged to you for nothing, but you are so damn that you actually see yourself as the same as Jiang Fan. Only then did Hu Lei react. Yes, Jiang Fan and I are different. I am Su Menqian's fiancé. Su Menqian has never looked at Li Anping once, so there is no way she would like him. I'm sorry, Qianqian. Hu Lei apologized hastily. Su Menqian wiped away her tears, sat in front of the dressing table and started putting on makeup, and said coldly, "Don't worry, no matter what, I will bring you food. I can't let you starve to death. The baby is for me." Hu Lei was heartbroken. He watched his fiancée dress up for other men and secretly hated himself for being useless. Su Menqian finished putting on makeup. Her decadent temperament was gone, and her beautiful facial features were restored again. Radiant and radiant, she put on black stockings, stepped on high heels, picked up her handbag and stood up. Hu Lei's hands and feet were shaking. "You can't go. What if that BD forces you to do it?" Su Menqian looked at Hu Lei, deliberately made a sad and moving expression, and stimulated him. "I wore a condom." Hu Lei's head exploded with a bang, and he completely lost his mind. With red eyes, he said viciously, "Qianqian, I'll go with you. Let's grab everything." Su Menqian was surprised. She didn't want to face Jiang Fan either. To her, compared to a strange man, the cowardly Hu Lei is easier to control. Hu Lei had been put by him for so long, and he had already formed a habit. Hu Lei said with anger and fear, "Really? I'm going to rob him all. Baby, if I'm caught by the police, will you wait for me?" Trash. Su Menqian felt disgusted in her heart, but said, "Of course. I will wait for you forever. By the way, let's bring some cash. When the time comes, if you rob something, we will throw the money to him, and then it won't be a robbery." Hu Lei's eyes lit up. Good idea. The two discussed some more details. Then, Su Menqian sent a voice message to Jiang Fan. "I am Su Menqian. I will go over and stay with you for one night. You have to give me 5 boxes of instant noodles." When Hu Lei heard this, he was so angry that the corners of his mouth twitched. "Baby, why do you say that?" Su Menqian glared and cursed. "Don't you understand hypocrisy? You have to negotiate the price to convince Jiang and let your guard down. This is not just for the two of us." Hu Lei understood this truth, but he was still frustrated to death. Jiang Fan sent back a voice message. "No, the maximum is 1 box. I only have 3 boxes." Su Menqian, "I don't believe it. You just wasted so much steak." Jiang Fan, "Believe it or not." Su Menqian frowned. "I'll only stay with you for 1 hour." Jiang Fan insisted. 1 night. It must be 1 night. This time it is to give Fatty Hu face. Don't even think about leaving when other women come." Hu Lei's eyelids jumped when he heard this. "Is this BCH doing this to give me face? This BCH is stepping on my face with her foot." Su Menqian also blushed a little. After all, she was an inexperienced woman. Talking about such things with other men in front of her fiancé made her very embarrassed. "That's 2 hours, Jiang Fan. 1 night is just 1 night. If you don't come, you will be kicked out." Su Menqian felt that it was almost done, so she sent a message. "Okay, I'll go over right away and you can get ready." Jiang Fan smiled and said, "Boss lady, please wear less clothes. I like short skirts, black stockings and high heels." Su Menqian blushed and quickly cut off the voice message. Hu Lei was so angry that he wanted to bang his head against the wall, waving his kitchen knife angrily. "FK. I'm going to chop this kid to death." Hu Lei is tall, powerful and rich, and has always had a huge psychological advantage over Jiang Fan. Now you actually dare to take advantage of your own wife. Court death. Su Menqian comforted Hu Lei a few words, and when he calmed down, the two began to take action. Finally, Su Menqian hid an anti-wolf spray in her handbag, while Hu Lei took the kitchen knife. Hu Lei carefully opened the door. His house is on the 19th floor and has long been flooded by red mist. The interior is also red, but it's lighter. The red mist outside is much thicker than inside the room. The red mist slowly trembled and flowed into the room, like a strange living creature, making people instinctively uneasy. There was dead silence in the corridor. No sound at all. The green passage light at the entrance of the stairs is only a few meters away, but it flickers like fireflies in the distance. No matter how arrogant Su Menqian was, she was frightened when she saw this scene and wanted to stick behind Hule. Hule was also afraid. But behind him was his beloved fiancée, so he could only muster up the courage. Baby, follow me closely, don't get lost. Su Menqian looked around nervously. Hule clenched the kitchen knife with both hands and walked towards the stairs step by step, with Su Menqian following closely behind him. The two of them walked step by step into the thick red mist. Their sight was very close, only 5 or 6 meters away, and there was a vast expanse of red in the distance. The surroundings were very quiet, with only the slight footsteps of the two people, and strange animal howls heard in the distance from time to time. Su Menqian's back was sweating, her heart was beating fast, and she regretted going out. As Hule walked, he spoke to encourage himself. Baby, why don't we just rob Jiang Fan's house? He is on the 32nd floor. There is no red mist there. Su Menqian's eyes lit up. What a great idea. I didn't expect you to have any brains. When Hule was praised by Su Menqian, he was so happy that he couldn't help himself and said in a seductive voice, that's right, let's drive him out directly. If he dies, no one can sue me for robbery. Su Menqian said angrily, don't speak so loudly. Do you want other people to hear you? Hule said aggrievedly. Oh. Fortunately, the two quickly climbed to the 21st floor and walked out of the red mist. Su Menqian and Hule both breathed a sigh of relief. There was still no one on the stairs. However, their vision returned to normal, which made the two of them feel much more stable. They climbed to the 32nd floor quietly. Standing next to the stairs, Su Menqian whispered, I'll knock on the door. You wait here. As soon as the door opens, I'll block it with my foot and you rush in. When the incident came to a close, Hule was extremely nervous and his hands were shaking like Parkinson's. Good, Su Menqian said with disgust. Can you do it or not? Okay. Hule swallowed hard. Su Menqian straightened her collar and hair before walking to the door smartly. Boom, boom, boom. Jiang Fan, I am Su Menqian. Open the door. Chapter 11, Stealing Chicken but Losing Rice. In fact, Jiang Fan saw the two of them as soon as they entered the 27th floor. Jiang Fan watched with interest as they climbed to the 32nd floor, and finally the woman stopped in front of his door. The man was hiding behind the door at the stairwell and seemed to be holding a knife in his hand. Looking at the body contours, men are fat and bloated, while women are slim and concave. From the perspective of perception, the two people exuded a blood-red light that represented strong hostility. The cat eye in Tang Mingai's house is a smart cat eye. With a small monitoring screen inside the door, Jiang Fan clearly saw the appearance of the two people. It was Fatihu and his beautiful fiancée Su Menqian. Su Menqian faced the door of Jiang Fan's house and turned sideways to the door of Tang Mingai's house. Hule was holding a kitchen knife and hiding in the stairwell. They thought they had avoided Jiang Fan's peephole, but they didn't know that they were clearly seen by Tang Zirao's peephole. Jiang Fan sneered. You really have bad intentions. Tang Zirao looked at the two people on the screen and said in shock, Brother Jiang, he has a knife in his hand. What does he want to do? She wasn't too nervous. Jiang Fan's force gave her a huge sense of security. The fat man with the kitchen knife was basically delivering food, but she didn't expect that the order would collapse so quickly, and then they would start to rob people at their homes. Jiang Fan said calmly, I'll find you another sister. Tang Zirao was stunned for a moment, with mixed feelings in her heart. There is also gloating about the misfortune of the two people outside. There is also a trace of Jiang Fan's bitterness and jealousy that he has an extra woman. There was even an unspeakable sense of relief. It would be nice to have one more woman to share the firepower. Jiang Fan picked up his cell phone and called Su Menqian, deliberately teasing the two of them. Hule isn't here, is he? Su Menqian said calmly, not coming. Hule clenched his kitchen knife behind the stairwell door. Jiang Fan did not expose her and said, you step back, turn around, and let me see if there are any weapons. Su Menqian pressed her handbag nervously, took a step back, and turned around slowly. Jiang Fan saw her actions and knew that there was probably something in her handbag. The system automatically prompts, Su Menqian, age 23, quality 8.5 points, beautiful wife, women's virtue 9 points, not involved in human affairs, already engaged, comprehensive score 8.5 points, Ling meets system requirements. It's actually a human matter. Hule, I gave you a chance but you didn't use it. Jiang Fan laughed and said, tisk, tisk, beautiful legs in black stockings, not bad, very attentive, I'm very satisfied, BD. Hu Lei was so angry that blood rushed to his head. He clenched the kitchen knife with both hands until his fingers turned white. He just wanted to rush into the house immediately, drive Jiang Fan out, and occupy Jiang Fan's home and the food inside for himself and Su Menqian. Su Menqian pretended to be impatient and said, "Okay, I'm a woman, what are you afraid of?" She was a little nervous. Why was this guy so cautious? Jiang Fan smiled and said, "If you can't see the shoes clearly, take a few steps back and let me see if they are high heels." Su Menqian blushed with anger. Not knowing what was going on, she could only take a few steps back, and had already retreated to the door of Tang Zirao's house. Hu Lei was so angry that he gritted his teeth and stared at the door of Jiang Fan's house. The further away Su Menqian is, the less prepared Jiang Fan is, and the greater his success rate. When you open the door, I will kill you. Boom. At this moment, another door suddenly opened. The security door quickly swept past Su Menqian's nose, flying away a piece of hair. Su Menqian was so frightened that she screamed, "Ah!" Before she finished speaking, Jiang Fan grabbed her collar and pulled hard under Jiang Fan's huge strength. Su Menqian had no ability to resist at all and was dragged into the room like a rag doll. Jiang Fan threw it away casually. Su Menqian couldn't stand firmly on her high heels, stumbled and fell to the ground, and screamed miserably. "Ah!" Boom. Jiang Fan closed the security door forcefully and locked it with a click. Hu Lei had been staring at the door of Jiang Fan's house. Unexpectedly, the door next door suddenly opened. Only then did he react and rushed out with a kitchen knife. However, there was only a cold security door in front of him. My wife was actually snatched away in front of me. Hu Lei's blood surged and he smashed the door angrily. "FK. You're looking for death?" In the room without saying a word, Jiang Fan put his knee on the back of Su Menqian, who was struggling to get up, and pushed her to the ground again. "Ah!" Su Menqian screamed, "It hurts. It hurts. Be gentle." She had never suffered such a crime in her whole life, and tears flowed out instantly. Jiang Fan showed no mercy and grabbed her handbag and snatched it away after a quick flip. "I found the anti-wolf spray inside, BCH. What do you want to do?" Jiang Fan sneered and slapped him away. Snapped. Su Menqian was beaten on the spot and did not dare to scream. She trembled and argued, "Don't get me wrong, don't get me wrong, I use it for self-defense." Jiang Fan took out the white transparent tape he had prepared, smacked it a few times, tied Su Menqian's hands behind her back, tore up her stockings, and wrapped them around her ankles as well. Then he forced the stockings into her mouth and wrapped it 3 times with transparent tape. Su Menqian was so frightened that her mind went blank and she struggled on the ground. There was no room for her expected beauty trap to be used, and she was controlled in the blink of an eye. Jiang Fan held her body down and, like examining Tang Zirao, carefully searched the hollows of her body. After making sure there were no hidden weapons, he turned over and punched Su Menqian in the abdomen. Boom. Su Menqian's eyes suddenly bulged and she curled up into a prawn, leaving only the sound of retching. Tang Zirao felt terrified in her heart. "Fortunately, I didn't resist. This man is too violent." At the same time, she also felt a sense of security. Only by following this kind of man in such troubled times can she survive. Right. Boom boom boom, boom boom boom. Hu Lei was still outside BG on the door, but it was of no use. Security doors are not so easy to open. Hu Lei roared anxiously, "Jiang Fan! Hand over my wife." Jiang Fan raised his hand and smiled through the door. "Thank you, boss, for the gift of my wife. The boss is very generous. Your sister is so awesome." Hu Lei is going crazy. "Hurry up and let him go, or I'll call the police." Jiang Fan cursed, "You haven't paid me the salary you owed me last month. Just use your wife to pay it back." Jiang Fan had already seen the mutated husky running up from the 28th floor, clothes bright red, and moves quickly up the stairs. Hu Lei still cursed angrily without realizing it. "Maid, let my wife go. Otherwise I will make you die an ugly death." Jiang Fan took a good rest and said, "Fat Hu, I don't know if I'm going to die, but you're going to die today anyway." Hu Lei was panting from exhaustion after smashing the door for a long time. He held his knees with one hand and raised a kitchen knife with the other and cursed, "If you have the guts, come out." Jiang Fan said with a smile, "Shabby, look back." Hu Lei was stunned for a moment. What does this mean? At this moment, a bellows-like breathing sound came from the stairs. Chapter 12. Defeat the mutated husky. Damn it, what the hell? Hu Lei was so frightened that he turned to face the stairs. A giant bulldog as big as a tiger came out. It roared, its muscles bulged, its eyes were blood red, and the tips of its teeth were stained with blood and suspicious bone residue. Hulei suddenly turned pale and shouted in horror, "Don't come over here!" The mutated dog jumped up and knocked down Hulei, biting Hulei's knife hand with its teeth. One bite and blood splattered everywhere. Click! Hulei screamed, and his arm was broken. The knife fell to the side with a clang. Hulei struggled wildly and struggled with the husky. "Don't bite me! Don't bite me! It hurts me so much! Help!" Tang! Zhuao's face turned pale and she was trembling. "Such a big dog is so scary." Su Mengqian, who was on the ground, heard Hulei's screams and tried to look up at the screen, only to see the giant dog biting Hulei. Suddenly his face turned pale with fear. There is such a big dog out there. If he had been discovered just now, he would have been dead. Jiang Fan carefully watched the battle between the mutant dog and Hulei. After his comprehensive physique increased to 50, his body became fully strengthened. The speed of a mutant dog is as fast as lightning in the eyes of ordinary people, but after Jiang Fan's overall physical fitness increased, his facial features also strengthened, and he could clearly see every movement of the mutated dog. It even felt a bit slow. "I should be able to beat it." Jiang Fan held a hammer and gently pushed the door open. Tang Zhuao was stunned. The mutated husky raised its head warily and barked at Jiang Fan. "Woof woof woof, woof woof woof." Hulei reached out to Jiang Fan and screamed, "Help! Help me!" Jiang Fan ignored him, stared at the mutated dog, and took a step towards it. The husky recalled the horror of humans and took a step back with a low growl. Hulei saw the opportunity and crawled towards Jiang Fan using his hands and feet. When the husky saw that the food was about to run away, he immediately became angry and pounced on Hulei with a bark. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. Too slow, he kicked out and hit the dog's head. Boom! The huge husky, which was more than 2 meters long, was kicked backwards and hit the wall hard. Boom! The tiles on the walls were cracked. Ouch! The husky screamed and got up from the ground, its tail tightly clamped between its legs, and howled at Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan did not retreat but moved forward, taking a step forward. The husky couldn't react at all, so Jiang Fan's big hand grabbed the back of the neck. "Get down!" Jiang Fan growled. The husky couldn't bear the huge force at all. His legs spread out and he was forced to the ground. Jiang Fan picked up the hammer and pointed it at the dog's head. "Duong! Duong! Duong!" The husky suddenly felt dizzy, and blood was flowing from the top of his head. "This human being is amazing." It instantly recalled the days when it was dominated by humans, and became frightened. The husky hummed in amusement, and his tail wagged quickly in a fawning manner. The red light on its body turned into kind green light in an instant. Jiang Fan was surprised. "You're convinced now?" The husky didn't dare to stand up, so he lay down and rubbed against Jiang Fan's trousers. Looking at Jiang Fan with a low eyebrow, Jiang Fan finally had a perceptual understanding of his own strength. Hulei covered his wrist and looked straight. "Damn it, why is this kid Jiang Fan so fierce? Why am I so crazy that I want to rob him?" Tang Zhuao also felt relieved and peeked out from the crack in the door. Su Mengqian was lying on the ground, her eyes moving around. How many times did it take to defeat such a big dog? Jiang Fan is much more reliable than Hulei. Jiang Fan's heart moved, and a piece of steak appeared in his hand. "Do you want to eat or not?" The husky was excited and licked Jiang Fan's shoes with his tongue. "Orcs will never be slaves unless they have food and shelter." Jiang Fan threw the steak on the ground. The husky started eating immediately. This kind of steak is a kid's steak sold in supermarkets. It's about the size of a palm, and the huge mutated husky eats it up in one bite. Jiang Fan simply took out 20 bags and threw them all to Husky. The husky was jumping up and down with excitement and almost burst into tears after the red mist came. There was no owner to feed it. "Do you know how difficult it is for a husky?" Jiang Fan looked at the husky's white eyes and said, "From now on, your name is Baiyan." "Woof! Woof!" The husky barked at Jiang Fan twice, as if he understood. "It's your turn, Fatty Hu." Jiang Fan reached out and grabbed Hulei's hair, dragging him back to the room easily. "Ah! It hurts! It hurts! Be gentle, Jiang Fan!" Hulei screamed in pain, but he did not dare to resist. Jiang Fan can even defeat such a big dog. How dare he fight back? Jiang Fan closed the door and left the husky outside. A dog that has just been subdued may have an unstable personality. What should I do if I suddenly lose control and bite someone? Although Jiang Fan is not afraid, women cannot bear it. Jiang Fan picked up Hulei and then threw him heavily to the ground. Hulei was beaten to pieces and almost fainted. Su Mengqian trembled. "Jiang Fan is too violent. He won't beat me, right?" Jiang Fan was free to squat next to Hulei and look at the injury on his arm. The ulna and radius bones of his right hand were bitten off. White bone stubbles protruded from the skin, and the palm of his hand drooped weakly. Jiang Fan smiled brightly. "Tisk, tisk, such a serious injury. Fatty Hu, you are dead. Let me put it to good use." "No problem, Hu." Lei reluctantly recovered and said fearfully, "Help me, Help me, Jiang. Fan patted Hulei's knee and said, save you? You two brought weapons to trick me, and you still want me to save you? Hu Lei said in horror, we are protecting ourselves. Click, Jiang. Fan smashed the patella of Hulei's left leg with one punch. Hulei was about to scream, but Jiang Fan held his mouth down immediately afterwards. Jiang Fan punched his right knee again. Click. Hulei's eyes bulged, the veins on his neck bulged, and he stared at his legs at weird angles in horror. Jiang Fan let go of his hand and said with a sunny smile, relax, relax. Pain and dizziness are normal. Come, follow me, take a deep breath, and take another deep breath. You see, I don't want to do this, but you are too strong, and I am very timid. You must understand that I am wrong. Hu Lei was so painful that he couldn't breathe. He stared at his knees and his mind went blank. Su Menqian, who was lying on the ground, was pale and trembling. She regretted it immensely. What kind of devil have I provoked? He won't break my legs too. Tang Zhao was not as scared as the two of them, but she was still chilled, and her awe of Jiang Fan reached its peak. Jiang Fan carried Hulei to the balcony and hung him on the iron railing of the balcony. The upper body is outside and the lower body is inside. As Hulei screamed, his hands and feet were tied together through the railings and wrapped dozens of times with transparent tape to completely secure them. When Su Menqian saw Hulei's miserable condition, she shivered and her mind went blank. Jiang Fan glanced down at Hongwu. By far, the mutant frog was the biggest threat to him. Jiang Fan wanted to test whether its tongue could attack the 32nd floor. Jiang Fan returned to the living room with a smile and looked at the beautiful wife carefully. Su Menqian shivered involuntarily. Jiang Fan turned his hand and a piece of bread appeared in his palm. Su Menqian's eyes widened. Is this magic? Chapter 13 The Terrifying Creeper. Jiang Fan looked at the two girls and said, half truthfully and half falsely, I have a portable space that only I can open. I knew this disaster would come a long time ago, and the portable space is already filled with all kinds of supplies. As long as you follow me honestly, I guarantee that you will have enough food and clothing for the rest of your life. So, be obedient, okay? Su Menqian couldn't figure out whether Jiang Fan was telling the truth. However, the willingness to resist has indeed been greatly reduced. If what Jiang Fan said is true, then following him is the wisest choice in the horrific apocalypse. Survival is the biggest need. Tang Zhao thought that Jiang Fan had brought out a lot of food and a lot of superpower fruits, and she was already convinced this is similar to her guess. Besides, she couldn't imagine how Jiang Fan could be so well prepared. Jiang Fan clearly saw that the red light on Su Menqian's body began to fade and gradually turned yellow. Although it was very light, there was no longer any hostility. Very good, I like smart women. Jiang Fan patted Su Menqian's cheek with satisfaction and said with a smile, be good, don't move, I will untie your mouth. Stab stab. Jiang Fan casually tore off the transparent tape on her face and pulled off a few long hairs. The pain made Su Menqian tremble a few times, and she did not dare to make a sound. Jiang Fan took out the black stockings from Su Menqian's mouth again. Ugh! Vomit. Su Menqian retched several times in pain before she recovered. Jiang Fan threw the bread to her mouth. Eat, you still have something to do after eating. Su Menqian couldn't think more about what busy meant. She lay on the ground staring at the bread in front of her and begged, can you let go of my hand? I can't eat it like this. Jiang Fan said calmly, no, just eat it like this. Su Menqian said with a little temper, why are you like this? How can I let others eat this? Jiang Fan sneered, don't play this trick on Hulei in front of me. He crushed the bread with his foot and threw it out of the window. Okay, your lunch is gone. Su Menqian was stunned. She finally understood that Jiang Fan and Hulei were completely different people. She immediately changed her attitude, lowered her body and begged, Brother Jiang, please, give me something to eat. This woman can afford to pick it up and put it down. Jiang Fan turned over his hand, and another piece of bread appeared in his hand. Su Menqian's eyes shined. Jiang Fan threw the bread on the ground and sneered, if you don't eat the toast, you'll be punished with a drink. I'll give you another chance to kneel on the ground and eat it. Su Menqian knelt down without any resistance and started eating quickly. Jiang Fan also discovered that the yellow light on Su Menqian's body faded, and a faint green appeared. Ling. Su Menqian consumes 1 pack of bread from the host and gets 200 packs back. It has been put into the portable space. Jiang Fan raised his lips slightly. Yes, that's how you behave. After dealing with Hulei's threat, Jiang Fan felt that time was running out. The world is getting more and more chaotic. I must continue to become stronger. He did push-ups. Unfortunately, after improving the overall physical fitness, Push-ups are not difficult at all and have no training effect at all. Jiang Fan upgraded to handstand push again, which was still very easy. Jiang Fan only used 2 fingers to support himself. Finally it had some effect. Jiang Fan did 100 in one go. He turned over and stood up without blushing and out of breath, feeling dissatisfied. We need to find some weights. This kind of exercise is useless. Or, it would be nice to learn some martial arts or fighting skills. Besides, we still lack weapons. Tang. Zhuo's eyes widened. She had no idea that this man was so powerful. Su Mengqian's eyes lit up. Only such a strong man can be worthy of me. Only then can I survive. I'm going to catch him. Jiang Fan just smiled slightly when he saw the expressions of the 2 women. He practiced blindly for another hour before he had to give up. Unless someone taught him, this kind of practice was almost useless. He might as well continue to eat physical strengthening fruits. Jiang Fan walked to the balcony. Hulei has passed out in just over an hour. The wound on Hulei's arm bitten by the dog had rotted and oozed pus, emitting an unpleasant stench. In the past, it would take at least 3 or 4 days for the wound to deteriorate. To this point it's too fast now. Not only animals and plants are evolving, but bacteria and viruses are also evolving at the speed of light. Tang Zhuo followed Jiang Fan and said carefully, "Is he going to die?" Jiang Fan said calmly, "This kind of wound would be dead without anti-inflammatory drugs. Moreover, I guess the bacteria have also evolved. No one can say whether the previous anti-inflammatory drugs are still effective. In short, now you will basically die if you are injured." Tang Zhuo timidly pulled Jiang Fan's arm. She didn't realize it herself, but in just 2 days, she developed a strong sense of dependence on Jiang Fan. Su Mengqian looked at Hulei with complicated eyes. "My fiancé hangs like a dead dog, but I kneel in front of the murderer." Su Mengqian bit her red lips. "There is no way. I am just a weak woman. I want to live." While she felt guilty, she felt a little resentful towards Hulei. "Who makes you so useless? Waste, it's all your fault." Jiang Fan carefully observed Hulei's condition. He has been hanging here for so long, and the mutated toad has not come over. I don't know if it couldn't reach that high, or if it left, or if it wasn't discovered. Other than that, there were only some huge flies flying around Hulei, and no animals. Maybe the 32nd floor is too high. Jiang Fan breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that the danger on the 32nd floor was not too great at the moment. Jiang Fan was about to leave when he suddenly saw an ivy wrapped around the fingers of Hulei's left hand. Huh? Jiang Fan was surprised. This thing has grown to 30 stories. Jiang Fan pulled the ivy on Hulei's finger, and then discovered that the ivy was not wrapped around Hulei's finger at all, but had penetrated into Hulei's skin. Jiang Fan used force and pulled out a long piece of blood-red flesh from Hulei's finger. After pulling out the ivy, the palm of Hulei's left hand deflated visibly to the naked eye, almost turning into a layer of empty skin, with all the flesh and blood swallowed up. Jiang Fan suddenly felt horrified. FK. This thing eats human flesh? Chapter 14. 4-star Physical Enhancement. 4-star Perception. Jiang Fan stretched his head and looked down. The ivy has climbed all over the outer wall, and there is a large area of green. Looking carefully at the wall, the ivy is covered with the carcasses of various animals, including huge sparrows, huge mice, and even a cat as big as a tiger. No wonder no animals came to eat Hulei. It turned out that this ivy had killed them all. The 2 women's faces turned pale and they were frightened. The world has changed. Even plants have begun to eat people. Jiang Fan immediately turned on his perception and looked at the ivy again. The ivy exudes a light red light, but it is not bright. It is a very dim area and can easily be ignored in the red mist. Jiang Fan looked gloomy. It turns out that not only powerful creatures are dangerous, but also some seemingly weak creatures are also a great threat. Of course, the creeper is not very dangerous and has almost no ability to move. It relies on the prey to come to the door on its own, and it has to stay still for a long time. Jiang Fan also noticed that there was a faint red light in Hulei's body, flowing along the blood vessels throughout his body, which seemed to be the seeds left by the ivy. Jiang Fan looked solemn, took out a bottle of pure water from the space, and poured it on Hulei's face. Hulei was woken up by the water, and he shouted weakly, "Water! Water!" The massive blood loss left his mouth dry. Jiang Fan asked gently, "Does your left hand hurt?" "Left hand?" Hulei stared at the pure water in Jiang Fan's hand. "It doesn't hurt. Water. Give me water." Jiang Fan frowned. Hulei actually didn't feel the injury to his left hand. Creeper has approximately the ability to anesthetize. Jiang Fan threw the pure water downstairs. Hulei begged, "Give me a drink. Give me a drink." Jiang Fan handed the transparent tape to Su Mengqian and said with a smile, "Gag your husband's mouth. It's too noisy." "Okay, brother Jiang." Su Mengqian held the transparent tape obediently and half-crouched in front of Hule. Hule looked at his fiancée in disbelief. Baby, you, Su. Mengqian didn't look into his eyes, lowered her head and cut a piece of transparent tape with scissors, quickly put it on Hule's mouth, and then whispered, you can't do it anymore. I can't help it as a woman. I have to survive. Can you understand me? I understand nothing. Hule stared at Su Mengqian, his face turned red with anger. Up, Jiang Fan laughed. Hule was so angry that he almost went crazy, but he couldn't move, so he could only bang his head against the iron railing. Boom, boom, boom. He was seriously injured and weak. He hit his head in anger and soon passed out. It was quiet on the balcony. 9:30 a.m. the next day. Jiang Fan looked at Hule on the balcony, eating the physical strengthening fruits one by one. He didn't know how much he had eaten, but he finally heard a prompt, Ling. Physical enhancement is upgraded to 4 stars. Comprehensive physical fitness plus 80. Added to the original 10 points, the panel attributes reached 90. Jiang Fan was overjoyed, stretched out his hand, and got off the bed lightly, feeling as if he was in heaven. After the comprehensive physical fitness increased to 90 points, he felt that his body seemed to have begun to undergo some kind of qualitative change, and his minor physical problems disappeared. The skin has become flawless, and the small scars on my arms from childhood have disappeared. Jiang Fan's eyes were slightly myopic, but now they are completely back to normal. The muscles on his body began to shrink, looking less explosive and more rounded than before. It doesn't look like there are many traces of training, but it is full of terrifying power. Jiang Fan casually took out a 1 yuan coin and easily pinched it into half with a little force. It felt like pinching plasticine. Then he folded it in half, then folded it in half again, and finally rubbed it in his palms, and the coin turned into a metal ball. As the overall physical fitness increases, the effect increases geometrically. Jiang Fan took out the dagger again, put his finger on the tip of the knife, and flattened the tip with a little force. With such a powerful body, the survivability is greatly increased. He turned on his senses again and tried it, but the physical exertion was almost unnoticeable. It can definitely be turned on 24 hours a day. Jiang Fan decided without hesitation to enable perception 24 hours a day in the apocalypse. Perception is extremely important and can detect danger in advance. Jiang Fan tested his ability for a while before he walked to the balcony with satisfaction. Hule's dead creeper seedlings sprouted from his mouth, ears, and nose under his perceptual vision. Jiang Fan saw that the corpse was filled with densely packed IV. Emitting a terrifying dim red light, Jiang Fan frowned, untied the body, and threw it downstairs. Throughout the night, the mutated frog still did not attack Hule. Jiang Fan was basically certain that the mutant frog's attack range was not that wide. He looked at the door, and there was a dog lying outside. Judging from its size, it looked like a white-eyed dog. Jiang Fan opened the door. The husky jumped up all of a sudden, wagging its tail happily at Jiang Fan, and lowered his head to Jiang Fan to beg for a W. The light on the husky's body is very green, and it has obviously recognized its owner. Jiang Fan smiled and grabbed 2 handfuls of dog heads, then took out 20 pieces of steak and a pile of ham sausages, and threw them on the ground. Woof! Woof! The husky started eating excitedly. Jiang Fan petted the dog for a while. After observing it for 2 more days, it can be brought into the room. In the last days, dogs are far more reliable than people. While Jiang Fan was scrolling through his cell phone, he took out a handful of enlightenment fruit, perception, and ate it. The enlightenment fruit tastes good and Jiang Fan treats it as a snack. There isn't a lot of good news. Online officials have been pretending to be dead and have repeatedly encouraged citizens to save themselves, but someone took a video of a large number of armed helicopters flying across the sky, and it is unclear what mission they were performing. More people have awakened and gained superpowers, but the news about the black lychee has still not been exposed. More people were forced to go out in search of food, and most of them suffered heavy casualties. Cats, dogs, mantises, centipedes, cockroaches, mice, spiders, ants, all the animals that humans didn't care about have mutated. Each poses a huge threat to humanity. The ground has completely turned into a terrifying field. It would be fine if there were powerful people with superpowers, but it would be almost impossible for ordinary people to move forward. Jiang Fan suddenly discovered that the mobile phone signal was very poor. Maybe one of the nearby base stations is broken. As time goes by, water, electricity, gas, and internet, these resources that urban people think are ordinary, will disappear one by one, and the human living environment will become worse and worse. Jiang Fan looked out the window in a bad mood. The facade of Tower A opposite is already covered with ivy. The entire 33 floors are covered in green. More and more pine trees poked out from the red mist, towering into the clouds. An unknown huge bird is hovering on the top of a pine tree branch. It looks like a swallow, but it is bigger than an eagle. Jiang Fan looked very ugly. He knows that he can't live in this house for long now. As the plants grow rapidly, sooner or later this place will turn into a forest. All kinds of mutated animals will eventually enter the building. It's useless no matter how abundant your supplies are. One person cannot fight against the power of nature. I want to become stronger. Jiang Fan made up his mind, took out the superpower fruit, took a photo, and sent it to the group. Food and accommodation included. At everyone looking to buy black lychees, please message me privately if you have any. Black lychee picture. Not many people paid attention to this news in the group. Most people don't know what this thing is yet. Only a few smart people secretly memorized it. Jiang Fan had no choice. If the superpower fruit was eaten by others, he would not be able to get it. There is another important reason. He is now physically stronger and has the confidence to protect himself from being taken advantage of. Click. Jiang Fan threw another perception fruit into his mouth, and a second surprise also appeared. Ling. Perception is upgraded to 4 stars. Perception range is increased to 50 meters. You can sense the energy gathering points in the target's body. Jiang Fan felt that his field of vision suddenly became larger. Now, he looks down and sees the 17th floor. Half the building was within his sight. Nearly 100 survivors trapped at home came into view. Jiang Fan was also pleasantly surprised to find that even the red mist could not block the visual field of perception at all. Others are almost blind in the red mist, but I am not affected. Jiang Fan's eyes glowed. What is the energy gathering point? He looked at himself and found a green object in the dancing area of his lower abdomen, like a stunted ginger. What is this stuff? He touched his belly and felt nothing. He looked at the other people in the building. It turned out that except for himself, among all the survivors above the 17th floor, only Tang Zhao, the survivor on the 17th floor, had this kind of thing. The ginger in Tang Zhao's body is smaller and lighter in green than her own. The survivor on the 17th floor, ginger, is similar to Tang Zhao, but the color is gold. And the survivor on the 17th floor looks very strong, and his location is probably room 1708. Zhou Xianhao. Jiang Fan couldn't help but think of Zhou Xianhao's gleaming muscles, and pondered, could it be that ginger is the source of supernatural powers? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15. Continue smashing walls and searching for supplies. Jiang Fan looked at Zhou Xianhao intently. There was a man and a woman in Zhou Xianhao's room. The three of them seemed to be chatting. It would be nice if I could hear what they are saying, but the perception is still not perfect. Jiang Fan looked at room 2104. Again there lived a female anchor with an extremely explosive figure, whose online name was I'm really not a fox. I'm really not a fox. When I usually go out, I dress very conservatively, but Jiang Fan had delivered food to her many times and had seen her true figure, a typical slender branch bearing fruit. Sometimes when she was live broadcasting, she didn't have time to change clothes, so she went out to get something in cool clothes. On the slender waist that Yingying grasped, there were 2 huge and fruitful fruits hanging. They looked frightening, making people worry that they would break her waist. What man can look at this kind of figure and not be moved by it? After the perception reaches 4 stars, the outline of the target's body shines more clearly. Apart from not being able to see the color, the appearance is almost indistinguishable from a real person. Jiang Fan saw I'm really not a fox lying motionless on the bed. His body was very dim. He was probably very hungry. How can such a female anchor prepare so much food at home? Little fox, let me save you. Jiang Fan raised the corners of his mouth slightly. He briefly observed the movements of all the survivors, then got through the hole in the wall and returned to his room, where he started smashing the wall again. Boom, boom, boom. Soon he broke a hole and entered the neighbor's house on the other side. No one is home. The rice, flour and oil were all rotten and rancid. The food in the freezer above the refrigerator has also mutated. There is still some meat frozen in the freezer below, which is still edible. Jiang Fan unexpectedly found a few pieces of steak. These were not the steaks that Tu Lei forced to sell to Jiang Fan for impending children. They were genuine M9 quality steaks. They were as fat and thin as snowflakes, making them very appetizing at first sight. In addition, There are several pieces of very good quality black pork. I usually don't notice it, but this humble neighbor is a gourmet. Good stuff. It's mine, Jiang Fan put it into his pocket with a smile. The biggest benefit of smashing walls is collecting supplies. In addition, it also allows Jiang Fan to quickly adapt to changes in his body. Prepare an escape route. By the way, kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Why not do it? Jiang Fan smashed the wall again. In addition, they also found a spare key hanging on the door of a neighbor's house and several boxes of fever, cold, and diarrhea medicine. Jiang Fan ransacked his neighbor's house, including tools such as toilet paper, lighters, tape, disinfectant, kitchen knives, hammers and pliers. Even furniture, appliances, bedding, and clothes were not spared. Anyway, the portable space is unlimited. The end of the world is coming, and humans don't know when they will be able to rebuild civilization. These things are all being used one by one. It would be nice if I could go to a big supermarket and collect some. Jiang Fan thought about it while searching. When the situation stabilizes, go to the nearest supermarket. Not yet. One reason is that Jiang Fan has no way to go out safely, and he doesn't feel that his combat effectiveness is invincible in the wild. Even if you have a strong hand-to-hand combat ability, you won't be able to bear the bite of a poisonous insect. Another reason is that there are still many survivors in the building. This group of people are starving. If you leave, someone will inevitably be unfavorable to Tang Zirao and Su Menqi, and they are Jiang Fan's tools for buying supplies. Don't die easily. After Jiang Fan searched, he penetrated another wall and continued to the next one. Zhou Xianhao's room was filled with smoke, and the house he shares with another fitness instructor, Song Ji. Now, besides him, there is another coquettish artificial beauty in the room. The woman's name is Chen Yun. She has a succubus tattoo on her lower abdomen. She is bare-legged and smoking on a dirty sofa. FK. I eat protein powder every day and I'm going to vomit. Zhou Xianhao was doing push-ups. His muscles all over his body were bulging like a devil's muscular man, and they were shining brightly. He snorted coldly, "If you like it, eat it, but if you don't, go away." Chen Yun curled her lips and did not dare to speak. Humph. Zhou Xianhao jumped up with both hands. Another fitness coach, Song Ji, was very envious. He was originally 180 and Zhou Xianhao was 175. Now Zhou Xianhao is taller and stronger than him. It would be nice if I ate that superpower fruit. It's a pity that he was a little timid at that time and was not as aggressive as Zhou Xianhao, so he didn't dare to eat, which made Zhou Xianhao gain an advantage. Zhou Xianhao glanced at the muscles on his body narcissistically. In just a few days, my strength doubled. The muscles are still very strong. Chen Yun's moaning every night is proof. Zhou Xianhao was in a good mood and said, "Song Ji, is there anything else in the refrigerator?" Song Ji quickly stood up, opened the refrigerator, took a look, and said gloomily, "Brother Zhou, there are only 2 pieces of chicken breast left. The rest have been eaten." He and Zhou Xianhao are both fitness coaches and always have protein powder at home. There are 4 cans left. Although it doesn't taste good, it has become a life-saving thing now. However, eating protein powder every day makes me feel sick just thinking about it. It can only guarantee that you will not go hungry for the time being. FK. Zhou Xianhao cursed. "Chen Yun, cook the chicken breast for me. FK. I'm not your mother." Chen Yun retorted. Zhou Xianhao glared at Chen Yun. Chen Yun reluctantly got up and went to cook chicken breast. Song Ji suddenly said, "Brother Zhou, look, the boy who has food and shelter is looking to buy black lychees." Zhou Xianhao immediately turned on his phone, and sure enough he saw the photo of food, accommodation, and hair. Black lychee? Zhou Xianhao's eyes glowed. "Just the kind you eat by yourself. Food and shelter are included, but there is still one in hand. This guy is probably too timid to eat it. Then why did he ask to buy it?" Zhou Xianhao couldn't figure it out. "If you can't figure it out, don't think about it." Zhou Xianhao began to think about how to get black lychees. "Do you know where you can stay with food and accommodation included?" Song Ji shook his head. "Who knows? I only know that he is a clerk at a convenience store outside the community." "Brother Zhou, this guy has a lot of food. Can we ask him to borrow some?" Song Ji looked at the black lychees in the photo with envy. "It would be great if I could eat it myself." Zhou Xianhao nodded, with a fierce light flashing in his eyes. "That boy is definitely not stupid and will not reveal his address easily." Chen Yun stuck her head out from the kitchen and said, "Someone in the group should know that he lives in our community anyway, so he must have neighbors." Zhou Xianhao's eyes turned slightly. "Well, that's right. You two go and find out. Whoever finds out the boy's address will get the black lychee in his hand. We will share the boy's food equally." "Really?" Song Ji was surprised. "I heard about it. Do you really want to give it to me? Of course. You have to be loyal when you go out to hang out. Who among us brothers follows the other? Zhou Xianhao looked at Song Ji with a smile, but he was thinking to himself, when I get a black lychee, I will punch you to death. Chen Yun can also calm my anger. You are a waste. What else do you do besides wasting food? It's smarter to give him food and shelter from the beginning. We only want women, not men anyway. Women can also be used as human shields when escaping, and they are easier to control at ordinary times. Then why should I keep you? Chen Yun said with disgust. I don't want that much muscle. It's disgusting. When the time comes, Brother Zhou can just give me more food. Zhou Xianhao glanced at her and said with a smile, good, brainless woman. Song Ji glanced at her disdainfully. How can food be so valuable? If you have the ability, wouldn't it be great to grab it? Chen Yun looked stupid, but she was thinking in her heart, what a shame. It's weird that Zhou Xianhao can give you the superpower fruit. I'm not as stupid as you. Being in RBQ is at least better than dying. Song Ji and Chen Yun made their own plans. Chapter 16 The Third Fruit of Enlightenment. Zhou Xianhao was not idle either. He sent a message in the group. In order to overcome the current difficulties together, I suggest that everyone build a free trading market to exchange what they have. Hongwu only goes to the 21st floor. I suggest that transactions be conducted in the corridors above the 21st floor at 2 p.m. every day. Someone quickly responded, yes, yes. I have 3 bottles of Maote. 1 bottle can be exchanged for 10 packs of instant noodles. 2 packs of instant noodles. Do you want to exchange them? You are too shameless. How much does a bottle of Maote cost, and how much does instant noodles cost? Money. Money has no use. Go drink your Maote. I have a pack of Oreos. Who also has ham? I want to eat some meat. I'm so greedy. I envy you guys who have meat to eat. I've been eating braised eggs for 3 days. I have Longo cigarettes and want to exchange them for a box of norfloxacin. I had diarrhea after eating rotten food yesterday. Please help me. I have norfloxacin, and I want to change food instead of smoking. Help, brother. I do have norfloxacin, but we are not in the same building. I dare not go out. How about you come and get it? I was bitten by a big ant yesterday, and now the wound is oozing pus. Help, Zhou Xianhao looked at the news in the group proudly. Now, it's clear who has food. When you are forced to rob someone, you will know who to rob. Of course, there are still people hiding supplies. It doesn't matter, as long as you grab enough supplies. The country can't always refuse to rescue, right? After rescuing the big shot, it's our turn, right? If the boy who has food and shelter also exchanges supplies, I can take the opportunity to catch him. Of course, Jiang Fan also saw the news posted by Zhou Xianhao and thought, trading market? Maybe I should go get some new supplies. He needs to constantly enrich the variety of supplies. Women can buy supplies, but only return what they already have. There are too few varieties, and you will inevitably get bored suddenly. He saw the yellow light on Zhou Xianhao's body turned into dazzling red. Jiang Fan sneered. He was probably eyeing the superpower fruit in my hand. Others don't know, but Zhou Xianhao must know the effect of black lychee. If that's the case, then go die. 21st floor, room 2104. Hu Lily hasn't eaten for a day. She lay weakly on the bed, staring at the ceiling in a daze. The red mist has spread over the 21st floor, about half a meter high, almost as high as the bed. The whole room was like a strange stage, filled with red smoke. What's going on? Hu Lily was about to cry without tears. She is a good-looking anchor who can earn 20,000 to 30,000 yuan a month. For her, who is in college, this kind of income is already very satisfying and her life is very comfortable. It's all over now. Hu Lily was so hungry that her stomach twitched for a while, and it took a few minutes to recover. No, I have to think of something. She remembered that food and shelter were provided. Hu Lily was very unwilling to exchange her body for food, but there was really no other way. I am still young. I can't starve here. Hu Lily opened the mobile phone group and saw another person organizing the trading market. Trading market? But I have nothing to exchange. Hu Lily continued to scroll up and saw the new message about food and housing. Black lychee. Hu Lily looked out the window in surprise. There were ivy growing next to the window, and a black lychee grew out from under an ivy leaf, hanging outside her window. Why do you charge this for food and accommodation? This black lychee has been growing for 2 days. so she didn't pay much attention to it, but the purchase of food, accommodation made her curious. She opened the window and reached out to pluck the black lychees. This fruit smells so good that people can't help but want to eat it, but Lily didn't dare to eat. Nowadays, plants are mutating rapidly, and there are all kinds of strange fruits. Who knows if they are poisonous? What's the use of this thing? Lily searched the internet but found no useful information. If she wasn't hungry, Lily would think about it again. She was so hungry now that she just wanted to switch to food to satisfy her hunger. Lily took a photo and sent a message to food and lodging included. Looking forward to it. I wonder how much food can be exchanged. Block. See number 2104. I am really not a fox. I have a black lychee. Picture. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. There really is. And it's still that little fox. Do you want to grab it directly? Jiang Fan thought about it and thought it was better to forget it. If she gets angry and eats it directly, or throws it away, then the gain outweighs the loss. There is no need to take risks yourself. Let's get the fruit of enlightenment first. Food and accommodation included. 3 packs of instant noodles. Lily was pleasantly surprised you can actually exchange 3 packs. Building C number 2104. I am really not a fox. Can I ask, what can this fruit be used for? Food and accommodation included. It has nothing to do with you. Do you want to change it or not? Lily looked at the black lychee in her hand, still a little reluctant. Building C number 2104. I am really not a fox. Then I won't change. Jiang Fan laughed. This little girl still wants to scare me. Forget it. Just teasing you. Food and accommodation included. Okay, think carefully before you come to me. Let's agree first that we will only charge today, and we will not wait until the expiration date. Lily was a little confused. It seems like the other person doesn't really want it. Building C number 2104. I'm really not a fox. Why? Jiang Fan deliberately frightened her. If you pick it off, it will soon become rotten. I don't want the broken ones. Lily was dumbfounded. She immediately understood that the other party was not joking. Nowadays, no fresh fruits can be preserved and will soon go bad. Lily really wanted to know what this was for, but the hunger in her stomach made her unable to bear it. Tower C number 2104. I'm really not a fox. 10 packs of instant noodles. Jiang Fan smiled. Are you still trying to bargain with me? You can chop it however you want, as long as you get the fruit. You and your body are mine. Food and accommodation included. Maximum 5 packages. No need to change. Lily struggled for a while and could only agree. Okay, Jiang Fan laughed. The third fruit of enlightenment is finally available. Food and accommodation included. I'll go to your house to trade. No. How dare Lily let the other party come over. Judging from what he said before, Bao Shen, this guy is definitely a big pervert. Now that the order is in chaos, she doesn't dare to trade one-on-one with the other party. Building C number 2104. I am really not a fox. We will trade on the trading market later. You can't act haphazardly in front of so many people now. Most survivors still follow the inertia and abide by the laws of the civilized era. Lily felt that if there were many people, the other party would not dare to force herself. Jiang Fan didn't care. He originally wanted to visit the trading market. If you need to grab it hard, you can't grab it if there are too many people. Jiang Fan sneered. Okay. I'll contact you later. Jiang Fan returned to Tang Zirao's house and took a hot bath first to wash away the dust from smashing the wall. The two girls have woken up when they found out that Jiang Fan was not there. They felt a little nervous. In today's troubled times, there is no man in the family, which makes her restless. When Jiang Fan came back, the two women were obviously relieved. Jiang Fan took out the steak and pork he just got. Who knows how to fry steak and braised pork? Tang Zirao was worried. She is a second-generation official and is in college, so how can she cook? Su Mengqian glanced at Tang Zirao proudly and whispered, I can cook, so it should be pretty good. Oh. Jiang Fan was surprised. After he obtained the portable space, he put all the food at home into the space. There are rice, flour, oil, salt, soy sauce and vinegar, and even some vegetables, cauliflower, tomatoes and eggs. These were originally prepared by my female roommate. Jiang Fan wasn't very good at cooking, so he didn't touch these ingredients. Since Su Mengqian can cook, take it out and leave it to her. Okay, let me see your handiwork, Ling. Su Mengqian consumed 1 tomato and received 300 tomatoes back. Already placed in the portable space. Ling. Su Mengqian consumed 2 eggs and returned 600 eggs. Already placed in the portable space. Ling. Su Mengqian consumed 1 kilogram of M9 sirloin steak and received 300 kilograms of M9 sirloin steak in return. Already placed in the portable space. Chapter 17. The beginning of the collapse of order. Su Menqian was quick with her hands and feet and quickly prepared 2 meat and 2 vegetarian dishes. She also steamed a pot of steaming rice and a tomato and egg soup before. She put a lot of effort into learning cooking skills in order to tie up Hule while using poor rhetoric to undermine Hule's self-confidence at the same time. She also gave Hule good deals from time to time, took good care of Hule's diet, and created the character of a good wife and loving mother coupled with tears, coquettishness and exquisite appearance. A whole set of tricks were used to make Hule obedient. Unfortunately, this trick doesn't work at all with Jiang Fan at this moment. A woman's scream came from block A opposite. "What are you doing?" The 3 of them stood up and looked out the window on the 30th floor of Tower A. A young man and woman wearing the same pajamas were forced step by step to the balcony by 4 strong men holding knives. The young woman shouted in horror, "This is my home, get out!" The strong man at the head was a yellow-haired man. He smiled and said something. The young woman immediately shouted outside the balcony, "Help! Help! Call the police! They are going to." Wang Mao reached out and grabbed the woman's hair, held her down, slapped her, and shouted, "UBCH, you have no shame." When the young man saw his girlfriend being beaten, he stepped forward angrily. Wang Mao didn't hesitate and stabbed him with his knife. Poof! The hilt of the knife sank into the young man's belly, and the man looked at the other man in surprise. "Look!" The 3 strong men laughed wildly and swarmed up. Poof! Poof! The young man fell silently in a pool of blood. The young woman was scared crazy. "You killed people! You killed people! Ha ha ha!" Wang Mao laughed ferociously. "Killing is nothing. Brothers, throw him down here and don't let him be an eyesore." 3 men picked up the young man's body, threw it off the balcony, and disappeared into the red mist. A few seconds later, there was a dull popping sound. The young woman threw herself on the railing and shouted in a tearful voice, "Chen Ming! Chen Ming, BCH, come in and have fun with me." A strong man grabbed her hair, and the woman struggled wildly, "Help! Help!" 3 strong men together dragged the woman into the room. Soon, women's screams and men's laughter soon came out. Many survivors in Building C witnessed this scene from the balcony. Wang Mao waved his watermelon knife and shouted wildly at the people in Block C, "What are you looking at? If you look again, I will kill you." The timid ones didn't dare to do anything, so they quickly closed the curtains. Those who are braver will not scold him, but just look at Wang Mao silently. Feeling very depressed, order began to break down. Tang Zurao and Su Menqian looked pale, and they were frightened. Jiang Fan said calmly, "Let's eat." The 2 girls didn't dare to look any further and hurried back to the dinner table. Jiang Fan took a bite of the steak and his eyes suddenly lit up. "The craftsmanship is good. I'll leave the cooking to you from now on." Su Menqian smiled apologetically and said, "Brother Jiang, just enjoy your meal." She breathed a sigh of relief. Her position finally became more stable. Su Menqian glanced at Tang Zurao proudly. BCH. Tang Zurao cursed secretly, but couldn't help but feel worried in her heart. Su Menqian can cook, what can she do? Jiang Fan saw the secret fight between the 2 women, but he doesn't mind it. Women can open share fields as long as they don't affect their own enjoyment. Moreover, competition for jobs requires enterprising spirit, right? Jiang Fan deliberately provoked Tang Zurao and took out an enlightenment fruit to Su Menqian. "Eat it, I'll give it to you." Su Menqian is curious, "Brother Jiang, what is this?" Jiang Fan said casually, "Superpower fruit. You can gain superpowers after eating it." Superpower fruit? Su Menqian's eyes gleamed. Jiang Fan actually has superpower fruits, and it looks like there are a lot of them. Otherwise he wouldn't just give him one. Tang Zurao looked at Su Menqian jealously, feeling increasingly nervous. "You must take action yourself. There will definitely be more and more vixens around Jiang Fan, and there will be no place for him." Su Menqian quickly swallowed it in one gulp. Soon, she noticed the change in her vision. "Brother Jiang, why are there lights on the 3 of us, and you are so bright, but we are so dark?" If the light on Jiang Fan's body is like a 100W light bulb, the light on the 2 women's bodies is just like candles. Jiang Fan briefly explained, "The brightness of the light basically represents the combat effectiveness of the target." Su Menqian asked curiously, "Why is your body glowing yellow, but Tang Zurao's body is pale red?" Jiang Fan looked at the 2 girls with evil intentions and said with a smile, "The light is divided into 3 colors. Green represents friendly, yellow represents neutral, and red represents hostile. Let me remind you, I also have the ability to perceive. If anyone dares to be hostile to me, I will kill him. So, even if you pretend, you must pretend to be friendly. Otherwise, I guarantee that you will die." It's ugly, The two girls were frightened and did not dare to have other ideas. Su Mengqian glanced at the red light on Tang Zirao's body again. Does red represent hostility? Snort. BCH. Tang Zirao also glared at Su Mengqian. Jiang Fan took out his mobile phone. Smile. The two girls quickly showed sweet smiles. Jiang Fan took photos of the woman and the food and posted a message in the group. Add everyone, except beauties, have food included, chat privately if you wish, and send full body selfies without beauties first. Picture. Song Shiyan lay weakly on the bed from yesterday to now. She has only eaten half a ham sausage. Very hungry. Song Yuanfan took her gold ring and went out to see if she could exchange it for some food. Song Shiyan felt like she was going to starve to death and couldn't bear it anymore. She thought for a moment, then suddenly sat up and took out a belt from the closet. This is cowhide. It should be edible. Her eyes burned hard at the leather straps. She forced Jiang Fan to buy this belt for her. It is said to be imported calfskin, costing 1,800 apiece. Now in Song Shiyan's eyes, she is just a piece of food. She cut the belt into small pieces of about 1 centimeter with a knife, and boiled the water. Soon, a pungent odor emitted from the pot, and the color of the water turned red, like brown sugar water. Song Shiyan looked at the belt pieces in the pot. Can this thing be eaten? She was so hungry that she couldn't bear it, so she could only bite out a piece of it and tried to bite it. The belt entrance looks like plastic and has a sour smell. Song Shiyan didn't want to eat, but hunger made her overcome everything. She bit hard for a while, finally biting the belt section into pieces and swallowed it with difficulty. Ugh, the weird smell made Song Shiyan feel nauseated. She ate a few more pieces and couldn't eat it anymore, and her stomach was knotty and uncomfortable. She didn't dare to eat more, so she could only lie back on the bed and stretch out her body. I managed to eat something and it wasn't that painful anymore. Song Shiyan regained some energy, picked up her phone and started browsing. As soon as I opened it, I saw Jiang Fan's photo. 2 beauties, as well as snowflake-like steak, shiny braised pork, stir-fried vegetables, stir-fried cauliflower, and even the steaming rice exudes attractive colors. Song Shiyan's mouth watered when she saw it, and she was furious. Damn B. You're eating my food. It's mine. She began to regret that if she had not broken up with Jiang Fan, she would be the one enjoying these things now. For the first time, she felt like she was missing something important. But others say, when you land with the first sword, kill the person you want first. I did nothing wrong. Isn't this what normal women do? Why is Jiang Fan so angry? Song Shiyan suppressed her anger and stared at the flesh in the photo, wishing she could replace the 2 women with herself. Click. The door opened. Song Yuanfan is back. As soon as he saw the pot, he said angrily, "Sister, you ate it behind my back." Chapter 18. I just want to see your attitude. Song Shiyan was a little angry and said weakly, "Leash, do you want to eat it?" Oh. Song Yuanfan was embarrassed. Song Shiyan didn't want to quarrel with her brother, so she looked at the backpack behind him. Did you get the food back? Song Yuanfan nodded, replaced with 2 canned fish. There were actually 4 in total, but he hid the other 2 and prepared to eat them alone. Song Shiyan said disappointedly, a gold ring can only be exchanged for 2 cans. Song Yuanfan concealed his identity and said, food is getting less and less. It's good to have this instead. Sister, this is not our solution. Is there any news from Jiang Fan? Song Shiyan said desperately, he blocked me. What can I do? Song Yuanfan was very angry. Why is this guy so stingy? Why do you want him to order something to eat? The 2 of them shared a box of cans, and their stomachs felt a lot better with physical strength. The 2 began to think of ways. Song Yuanfan came up with an idea. Sister, you should take the initiative to join him. It's best for a man to save face. Jiang Fan must not be able to save his face. If you lower your posture and cry again, he will definitely not be able to bear this. Song Shiyan was very reluctant to bow to Jiang Fan, but seeing that she was about to starve to death, she could only agree. Song Shiyan once again applied to be added as Jiang Fan's friend. She didn't have much hope at first, but who knew she passed it immediately. Song Shiyan was overjoyed. He passed. Song Yuanfan said happily, look, let me tell you, man. Get rid of him quickly. Song Shiyan regained her confidence. Don't worry, I'm very confident in dealing with Jiang Fan. She thought for a while and then made a video call to Jiang Fan. Soon, the call was connected. Jiang Fan's face appeared on the screen. There were 2 women beside him, who were serving him food diligently. Song Shiyan looked at Jiang Fan, whose face was glowing red, and her anger suddenly surged. I'm starving here, but you are enjoying the delicious food and even playing with women. And there are 2. Jiang Fan looked at the woman opposite the video. She was disheveled and depressed. How could she still have any trace of her former pride? I have been deceived by this kind of garbage for so many years. Jiang Fan was in a good mood and said with a smile, "Hey, what about losing weight? Lose some weight." Song Shiyan was so angry that she almost couldn't breathe. She stared angrily and shouted, "Jiang Fan, Jiang." Fan pursed his lips at Tang Zhao. Tang Zhao understood, took the initiative to put a piece of steak into Jiang Fan's mouth, and pressed her body tightly against him. Jiang Fan ate until his mouth was full of oil, and he stroked Tang Zhao's head like a kitten, before he said, "What are you calling me for, Song?" Shiyan's mouth watered and her stomach began to twitch again. He was eating a belt, but Jiang Fan was eating steak. Song Yuanfan was anxious and winked at her in the corner. Song Shiyan quickly said, "Jiang Fan, you disappoint me so much. You are such a man." Jiang Fan took a sip of iced coke and teased her with a smile. "I've disappointed you. What qualifications do you have to say such things to me? Sister, let's break up." The poems of the Song dynasty are full of force and reason. You don't understand my feelings at all. We have been together for so many years, and you can't even afford a house. You don't work hard enough. I broke up with you just to stimulate you," Jiang Fan said casually. Edit, keep editing, Su Menqian took a piece of braised pork, brought it to Jiang Fan's mouth, and said in a tired voice, "Brother Jiang, is it delicious?" Jiang Fan chewed happily, "Not bad, BCH." Song Shiyan's eyes were on fire. She swallowed hard and said, "Jiang Fan, it was my fault that I broke up with you, but you didn't make any mistakes at all. Other people's boyfriends are working hard, so what are you doing? Working in convenience stores, running Didi. What kind of job is this? What will our children do in the future? I don't want our children to lose at the starting line. Hey, guys, this is a childbirth warning." Jiang Fan said with a smile, "Don't mess with the kids. Besides, if we break up, we'll break up." "What do you mean by taking all the money from my bank card?" Before Song Shiyan broke up, she transferred all the tens of thousands of dollars Jiang Fan had saved a day in advance. Jiang Fan was very angry. "This is my hard-earned money." When money was mentioned, Song Shiyan was a little speechless and didn't know how to answer. Why has he changed? She became anxious. Jiang Fan would never say such harsh words before. "I'm not short of money, I just want to see your attitude. You disappoint me so much." Attitude. Jiang Fan burst out laughing. "Okay, I'll give you a chance." Has he changed his mind? Sure enough, he still couldn't let me go. Song Shiyan was surprised. "I will definitely treat you well. Let's make peace, Song." Shiyan felt proud. Jiang Fan is indeed a licking dog. I summoned him, and he came and waved him away. She began to think about how she could drive away the two women after arriving at Jiang Fan's house and take all the food into her own hands. Song Yuanfan's face also showed joy. Jiang Fan smiled and said, "Don't worry, I also want to see your attitude. Now, kneel down, Song." She's voice paused and he said angrily, "Jiang Fan, you are insulting my character, Song." Yuanfan became anxious. Seeing that the food he was about to reach was about to fly away, he whispered anxiously, "Sister, get rid of him, Song." Shiyan hesitated. In her heart, hunger frightens her more than face. If she and Jiang Fan were the only two people present, maybe she would agree, but now there are two women and his biological brother Song Yuanfan. How could she agree? Unfortunately, she had no chance to hesitate. "Are you talking about personality with me?" Jiang Fan sneered and threw the words back exactly as they were. "I don't want to insult you. I just want to see your attitude. Song Shiyan, you disappoint me so much." After saying that, he hung up the phone directly. Damn it. Song Shiyan was so suffocated that it was extremely uncomfortable. Song Yuanfan was so angry that his face was deformed, and he said angrily, "Sister, you two are having so much fun together. Why do you kneel down? What are you pretending to do now, Song?" Shiyan's chest felt tight and she looked at her brother in disbelief. "Yuanfan, why are you talking to me like this? Besides, Jiang Fan and I are not that extreme, Song." Yuanfan said angrily, "Sister, what's the point of kneeling down? It's just a couple's fun. It's fine now, we still have to starve, Song." Shiyan clenched her fingers and argued, "Don't you see? He is deliberately insulting me. Being insulted is better than being starved to death." Song Yuanfan said the next sentence and rushed into another room. Angrily banged the door is closed. Song Shiyan was silent. She already felt a little regretful. "Maybe I really should have knelt down just now. Song Shiin is a very realistic woman. She fell in love with Jiang Fan in college because Jiang Fan was handsome and would make her look good in college. Jiang Fan, who graduated, was a low-level man with no merit at all, so she dumped Jiang Fan when she was admitted to the establishment. Now, times have changed again. With a lot of food in hand, Jiang Fan is the master of this era. It should be okay to kneel down for him. Song Shiin looked at Jiang Fan's account and couldn't decide. She had just eaten half a box of canned fish, so she was not particularly hungry and could still hold on. Let's wait and see. 2 p.m. It's time to trade. Zhou Xianhao took Song Ji and Chen Yun out together. The red mist blocked their sight, and the three of them stood close together, carefully holding on to the wall as they moved forward. Zhou Xianhao thought silently, I hope that guy who provides food and accommodation will come to trade. Chapter 19 Zhou Xianhao Robbery. Chen Yun hugged Zhou Xianhao's arm in fear, and the three of them came to the corridor and climbed the stairs. When we reached the 21st floor, the red mist finally disappeared. The three of them breathed a sigh of relief after my vision broadened. It felt like the big stone weighing on my chest had been removed. There were already more than a dozen people standing in the corridor. All of them had dishes on their faces, looked listless, and looked hungry. Some people also have deep dark circles under their eyes, obviously not sleeping well during this period. They looked at others with vigilance and expectation, holding their backpacks tightly and holding a paper sign in their hands. 1 piece of chocolate, exchange for 2 pieces of bread. 6 bottles of Coke can be exchanged for meat, either ham sausage or luncheon meat. 2 bottles of maute, let's talk if you want. Just food. 1,000 pure gold bracelets in exchange for a box of instant noodles. The most special one is an old Chinese doctor named Li Qingqun. He had gray hair and was sitting on the first flight of stairs. There was a big bag of smelly wild vegetables in front of him, and the card read, Wild Shepherd's Purse, you can eat it. 10 pounds of it will be exchanged for 1 bottle of alcohol. Everyone stayed away from it. No one dared to eat such a large shepherd's purse. The leaves were bigger than cabbage. Who knew if there was any mutation or it would be poisonous? Zhou Xianhao walked over, picked up the wild shepherd's purse and smelled it. Ugh, the smell of shit hit my nose. FK. Zhou Xianhao threw it aside in disgust. Why is this stuff like shit inedible? His gleaming muscles made everyone envious and looked at him fawningly. Li Qingqun nodded and said seriously, it's edible, I've eaten it. Zhou Xianhao looked at Li Qingqun in shock. This is too damn worthy to be spoken. Li Qingqun smiled bitterly. I'm starving to death, why do I care about whether it tastes good or not? Changes are getting bigger and bigger, and sooner or later we will start eating plants outside. Chen Yun sniffed it, immediately threw it aside, wiped her hands repeatedly with a tissue, and said disgustingly, I won't eat shit even if I starve to death. Li Qingqun smiled and shook his head without saying anything. After another 10 minutes, there were more and more people in the corridor, with more than 40 people gathered. When there are more people, everyone becomes bolder. While everyone was selling things, they were chatting and exchanging information. I can't get through this day, my family is out of food, why hasn't the country come to rescue me? Who knows? Maybe all the officials are being protected. Maid, the world is unfair. By the way, is that guy here who provides food and accommodation? I want to trade my wife's diamond ring with him for some food. Diamond ring? Now the ghost wants this thing. Maybe he won't come. He's not short of food, and he robbed 2 women. He must be afraid of being robbed by others. FK. Tang Zuorao actually took advantage of this kid. HMPH, don't be too happy too early. When Director Tang brings his people back, this kid will have some good things to eat. Can Director Tang come back? Definitely. In modern society, with advanced science and technology, it is impossible for a country to be defeated by the evolution of animals and plants. After saving the rich and powerful, it will be our ordinary people's turn. Zhou Xianhao asked Chen Yun to find a place to sell protein powder. He and Song Ji walked around in a circle, and couldn't help but look ugly. The situation was much worse than he imagined. Nowadays, there is almost no serious food that people trade. Most of them are things that don't make you hungry, such as cola and liquor. He wanted to kill Song Ji before and survive with a few women by himself. Now, this idea has changed. Food was so scarce that trading could not get much food and you have to grab it. To rob, you need a man. There is no point in having so many women. Song Ji whispered, Brother Zhou, the situation is not good. Zhou Xianhao nodded gloomily. Damn. I have to get something to eat this time. Song Ji said worriedly, the boy who provides food and accommodation is not here. He won't live in our building, right, Zhou Xian Heo whispered. He should live in our building. He is now with Tang Zurao, the beautiful proprietress of the convenience store. Those two women live in our building, which means that they will most likely live in our building with food and accommodation included. In addition, I saw the room in his photo. There is no red mist, which means we are on the 21st floor. Song Ji heard this and flattered him. Brother Joe is so smart, HMPH. If you don't have a strong brain now, you will die. Joe Xian Heo said proudly. We have to find a way to get some food from them. The two discussed quietly for a while and then made up their minds. At this time, the short, fat homeboy selling chocolates was surrounded by three people rushing to buy. Chocolate is better for long-term storage than bread, and it is a life-saving material at critical moments. The otaku who buys chocolate is not stupid and immediately raises the price. In the end, the deal was quickly concluded with 3 pieces of bread and a pack of biscuits. The otaku was very happy and wanted to go home but was stopped by Joe Xian Heo. Brother, do you want to just leave like this? The otaku looked at the strong Joe Xian Heo and Song Ji worriedly, hugged the food in his arms tightly and said, what do you want to do? Everyone looked over. Joe Xian Heo grinned. I organized this trading market, so I'm responsible for it. It's so dangerous outside now, so I naturally have to protect everyone's personal safety. You enjoy my protection, so why don't you pay some management fees? Isn't that excessive? Everyone's expression suddenly changed. Grass, the person named Joe has no good intentions. Lily, who was hiding in the crowd, was very nervous. She looks mediocre now. She knew that women were in danger in troubled times, and beautiful women like her were even more dangerous, so she deliberately put makeup on herself to make herself look ugly, and added bulky clothes, turning her into a deformed, yellow-faced woman with wrinkles on her face. She is safe now, no man cares about her at all. The person named Joe wants to rob. Lily was very nervous. Food and accommodation are included. Why haven't you come yet? She held her handbag and there was a black lychee inside, which was her only hope for survival. Some smart people saw that the situation was not good, so they started to pack up their things and try to run away. Joe Xian Heo roared. The light on his muscles became brighter, and he stared. I will kill anyone who dares to run away. Everyone immediately stood still and looked at Joe Xian Heo in panic. Joe Xian Heo looked at the otaku in front of him again and said with a cruel smile, Boy, your management fee, 2 loaves of bread, 2. The otaku was shocked and angry. Why don't you go and grab it? Bang! Joe Xian Heo punched the otaku in the stomach. Vomit. The otaku bent over in pain, knelt on the ground and retched. Joe Xian Heo grabbed the collar of the resident man with one hand, and with great force, he lifted him up with difficulty. The onlookers suddenly took a breath of cold air. A man weighing 1,670 pounds can lift it with one hand. This BD is so awesome. Joe Xian Heo gritted his teeth and tried his best to maintain his appearance. After 2 seconds, he couldn't hold it anymore, and he threw the otaku 2 or 3 meters away. The homeboy screamed when he fell. Joe Xian Heo forcibly took away the otaku's backpack and said viciously, You resisted law enforcement and everything was confiscated. No. It's my thing. Of course the otaku couldn't accept it and struggled to stand up. Joe Xian Heo was so upset that he decided not to do anything else. Today he will use the otaku to scare the monkeys and calm everyone down. He stepped forward and kicked the otaku hard in the chest. Boom, click, everyone heard the sound of bones breaking. The otaku slipped a few meters on the ground and hit the wall and passed out. The scene was completely silent, and everyone looked at Joe Xian Heo in fear. Song Ji was also startled, looking at the miserable state of the otaku with fear. Joe Xian Heo looked at everyone and said loudly, Everyone knows that it is dangerous outside, and the building will not be safe for a long time. We must organize patrol teams to save ourselves. The patrol teams must patrol day and night. If danger is found, they will sound the alarm and cut down the plants that grow into the building to protect everyone's safety. This is for everyone's benefit. Now, who wants to join the patrol? Everyone looked at Joe Xian Heo in silence. No one believes Joe Xian Heo's lies now. Joe Xian Heo raised his backpack and said, There are 3 pieces of bread and 1 pack of biscuits here. Because he refused to manage them, they were confiscated by me. These things are not mine but belong to the entire patrol. Does the patrol still have this benefit? Some people's mentality began to change. Some people who originally sympathized with otakus have changed their minds. If you can get a share of the pie, who cares about your neighbor's life and death? However, everyone doesn't have much food, so the so-called management fee can't be charged much. Will the so-called patrol team be held accountable by the government afterwards? Everyone is still waiting and watching. Joe Xian Heo narrowed his eyes and continued, When the red mist comes, there are still many house owners in our building who have not returned. I will organize patrol members to break open the door and collect supplies. These supplies will also be distributed to the patrol members first. Pry the door open. At this time, many people's eyes started to shine, especially some young and middle-aged men, or families with men at home, are secretly happy, maybe should join the patrol. The patrol team must be dominated by young men. Of course they can take advantage. Some single women and elderly people are not happy. The supplies in the empty house belong to everyone. Why should the patrol take them away? Who gave the patrol this power? You said priority is priority. Why? Chapter 20. Kill Zhou Xianhao instantly. The loudest shouter was the sharp-mouthed old lady Su. She held her grandson Tao Tao with one hand and put her other hand on her waist, and shouted to Zhou Xianhao without any scruples, "If we don't have it, the patrol is not allowed to take it. I will film whoever takes it and call the police." When others saw someone taking the lead, they mustered up the courage to follow and shouted, "Yes! Call the police. This is robbery. Why do you take other people's things?" The patrol team can pry open the door, but the supplies must be divided equally among each family. A group of old women gathered together, and their courage inexplicably grew. They said aggressively, "Equal share? Respect the old and love the young? Don't you understand? Those over 60 years old must get more. All supplies should be shared equally." And the young man who asked for food and shelter, "Who are you? Come on, you have so much food at home. How can you bear to see us starving?" "That's right. Food and accommodation will be provided. Come forward and let me, old man, tell you what to do." "Isn't the patrol team supposed to keep us safe? Then we must provide enough food for everyone every day." Everyone in Zhou Xianhao was dumbfounded. "Do you dare me to beat someone in vain?" He walked up to Mrs. Su, looked down at her condescendingly, and said sternly, "Old immortal, do you think I am discussing with you?" Mrs. Su scratched her neck and shouted, "If you dare to touch me, I will call the police," snapped Zhou Xianhao. Slapped Mrs. Su to the ground, knocking her unconscious on the spot. Zhou Xianhao roared, "Who has any opinions now?" There was total silence. "This kid is crazy." Even the old woman in version T0 dares to fight. Now no one dared to speak at all. The old women who were shouting just now tried their best to shrink behind the others. Mrs. Su's grandson Tao Tao started crying. Zhou Xianhao glared and said, "Why are you howling? If you continue to howl, I will throw you down." Tao Tao shut his mouth in horror. The patrol team accepts 6 people. Whoever wants to sign up. A young man raised his hand cautiously. "Captain Zhou, I sign up." "Okay." Zhou Xianhao laughed and patted the man on the shoulder. "What's your name?" The man smiled apologetically. "Wang Da Tao." With the first one, there are those who follow soon. 6 people signed up. After setting up a patrol team, Zhou Xianhao immediately began to collect management fees. Everyone must pay management fees. Otherwise, don't blame me for bringing people to open your door and go to your house to collect. The scene was suddenly filled with howls of ghosts and wolves. "Captain Zhou, this is all I have to eat. I can't take it away." "Captain Zhou, my child is still hungry. Please don't rob him. This is mine. Don't take it." "Ah! Don't hit. Don't hit. Why don't you give it to me?" In the face of lack of food, the survivors in the same building quickly transformed into 2 classes. The sound of beatings and cursing could be heard endlessly. Everyone who didn't join the patrol began to regret it. "I actually believed in Zhou Xianhao's lies and came to participate in this bullshit trading market. It's too late to run away now." Moreover, he couldn't run away, and Zhou Xianhao and others would rush into his home and rob him. In the midst of chaos, a voice sounded, "Hey, it's quite lively." Zhou Xianhao looked up and saw a man walking down leisurely with 2 beauties. The man looked very healthy, and the 2 beauties had obviously just been dressed up and looked radiant compared with a group of hungry and disheveled female survivors. The 2 women are even more eye-catching. The scene was quiet for a while. Song Ji said excitedly, "Look, Brother Zhou, next to that boy is Tang Zurao. He must have food and accommodation included, isn't this guy the clerk at the convenience store downstairs?" "FK. It's this guy, a shabby shop assistant who acts like shit in the group every day." Under the men's eager gazes, Tang Zurao and Su Menqian were very nervous and held Jiang Fan's arm tightly. Jiang Fan looked calm now. His senses are fully open. The light is in everyone's eyes. The color of most people's yellow with a little reddish light, but they are just a little hostile. Zhou Xianhao was different. He was red and purple, with a hint of malice. Zhou Xianhao said with a cruel smile, "It turns out it's you. Now pay the management fee and hand over half of your food. This silly boy is really here. He even brought a woman with him. These 2 women are mine, half. Jiang Fan patted the 2 women's hands, and the 2 women let go of Jiang Fan obediently. Zhou Xianhao said greedily, "Yes. And give me your black lychee too." Jiang Fan walked up to Zhou Xianhao with a smile and suddenly reached out and grabbed Zhou Xianhao's neck. Zhou Xianhao wanted to dodge, but found that Jiang Fan was so fast that he couldn't dodge at all. Zhou Xianhao wanted to curse, but halfway through his words, his consciousness fell into darkness. Click. Jiang Fan simply broke Zhou Xianhao's cervical vertebrae. Zhou Xianhao's head hung down strangely. "That's it." Jiang Fan let go of his hand and said calmly. Zhou Xianhao's body fell to the ground with a thud. The scene was completely silent, and everyone was extremely frightened. Zhou Xianhao is dead. Is this murder? Hitting someone is a beating. How can you kill someone? Why did Zhou Xianhao die? Yulu Songji swallowed hard. He knew Zhou Xianhao's power too well now. The seemingly ordinary Jiang Fan easily killed Zhou Xianhao instantly. Jiang Fan must also have gained superpowers. He must have eaten that fruit of enlightenment. Jiang Fan showed a cheerful and sunny smile, looked at everyone and said with a smile, "Don't be afraid, everyone. Zhou Xianhao robbed your food. I have already avenged you." Everyone was trembling. No one thought that this young convenience store clerk was the most terrifying tiger. Some people are afraid, and some people have special ideas. It seems that this young man named Jiang Fan has a strong sense of justice. Mrs. Su happened to wake up and saw Zhou Xianhao being killed. She covered her swollen cheeks and laughed crazily. "Well done. Well done, Jiang." Fan looked at the large bag of food collected by Zhou Xianhao and was very satisfied. "It's a mess. Everything is there, and this time I can add a lot of material types," Mrs. Su said anxiously. "Give us our stuff, Jiang." Fan blinked. "What? MRS?" Su pointed at her backpack and said expectantly, "This is ours, Jiang." Fan shook his head. "This obviously belongs to Zhou Xianhao." Others also plucked up the courage to speak. "Young man, that package belongs to us." "Yes, the patrol team took it from us, Jiang." Fan kicked old Mrs. Su aside and said with a smile, "Whoever robbed it has none of my business. If you ask whoever wants to go." Everyone's hearts became cold. It was Zhou Xianhao who robbed it, but Zhou Xianhao was already beaten to death by you. What more is there to do? It turns out that Jiang Fan is not a good guy either. Everyone could only vent their anger on a few patrol members. The patrol members trembled without Zhou Xianhao to take the lead. They were surrounded by dozens of people and were very frightened. Everyone did not dare to provoke the fierce Jiang Fan, so they were not polite to the patrol members. The person who had just been robbed was particularly angry. "Liu, please return my ham immediately." "You damn BD, I'm just a stewed egg, and you're trying to steal it? Don't you still have any humanity? Quick! Give me back my instant noodles, FK. That's my last bread." "My surname is Wang. We have been neighbors for 10 years, and you actually have the heart to steal my things." Several members of the patrol team wanted to escape, but were blocked in a corner. Soon, the food that the patrol team member had just hidden was discovered. Someone couldn't help but kick Song Ji, and the rest of the people rushed forward, and the scene suddenly became chaotic. "Ah! Don't hit me. Don't hit me. Help. It hurts me so much." Chapter 21. The third fruit is obtained. Some vented their anger on the patrol members. Some people took the opportunity to leave quietly. Mrs. Su even took advantage of others' distraction to steal other people's food. Jiang Fan looked around and didn't see. "I'm really not a fox." The female anchor didn't come. Jiang Fan frowned slightly. As long as he stared at the unknown woman for a few seconds, the system would automatically prompt, "Sun Ji age 32, quality 5 points, mediocre, women's ethics 2 points, 3 marriages, 2 ex-husbands left home, comprehensive score 5 points, Ling does not meet the minimum system requirements, Deng Xiaona age 39, quality 3 points, female ethics 10 points, without personnel, comprehensive score 3 points, Ling does not meet the minimum system requirements." Suddenly, a prompt popped up on a mediocre middle-aged woman in the corner, Hu Lily age 22, quality 9.5 points, big, very big, female ethics 10 points, without personnel, comprehensive score 9.5 points, Ling meets system requirements, 9.5 points, Does our building still have this kind of top quality? Jiang Fan stared at the middle-aged woman carefully for a while, and then he realized that this woman was wearing makeup, and he is being ugly on purpose. So smart. Who, Lily? Jiang Fan reacted immediately. Fox, she is the female anchor. Who? Lily was looking at him timidly, as if hesitating whether to come over to trade. Jiang Fan raised the corners of his mouth slightly. He walked through the chaotic crowd and walked straight to Hu Lily. Wherever they went, everyone unanimously moved out of the way, not daring to provoke Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan asked, Hu Lily, have you brought a black lychees? Hu Lily was startled and quickly touched her cheek, thinking that her makeup had fallen off. Bring it. Can you recognize me? Jiang Fan didn't explain. He just took out 5 packs of instant noodles and looked at Hu Lily. Hu Lily's eyes shone and she swallowed. She carefully opened her backpack and took out her lunchbox. Opening the lunchbox, a black lychee appeared in front of Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan laughed and reached for the lunchbox. The third fruit of enlightenment is finally in hand. Tang Zhuorao and Su Mengqian looked at Jiang Fan in surprise. I don't understand why Jiang Fan is interested in this plain-looking woman. When they saw the black lychee, they seemed to understand that Jiang Fan was here for the superpower fruit. Snort. This woman is so stupid that she didn't eat this superpower fruit. Looking at Hu Lily's ordinary appearance, the two women did not feel threatened at all, but instead felt proud. There is no way this kind of woman can compete with him. For Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan stuffed 5 packs of instant noodles into Hu Lily's hands and said with a smile, would you like to stay at my place? Hu Lily hugged the instant noodles tightly and shook her head nervously. I like living alone. Jiang Fan was not in a hurry and said casually, okay, you can contact me again after you finish eating. I still have a lot of food. He considers himself a principled person. Since we have agreed to trade the enlightenment fruit before, it is a trade. However, if you change your mind on the spot after agreeing on a deal, Jiang Fan will make the other party understand what cruelty is. Hu Lily didn't bother with anything, and Jiang Fan wouldn't overturn the deal and just grab it anyway. This little food will be eaten up sooner or later. She has to endure some hardships. The harder it is to survive, the more she will give up in the end. Hu Lily bit her lip and hesitated, but did not refuse completely. Can I think about it? Jiang Fan smiled. No problem. By the way, where did your black lychee grow? Hu Lily held the food in her arms and said without thinking too much, the ivy on the outer wall. Isn't it yours? Jiang Fan nodded slightly and said nothing, thinking secretly in his heart the few enlightenment fruits he knew grew from completely different plants, succulents, ivy, and the weeds that the lightning man mentioned. It's really strange. How come any plant can grow enlightenment fruits? What do these plants have in common? Jiang Fan was very puzzled at this moment. The crowd suddenly burst out shouting, killed. The people who beat up the patrol members dispersed in a hurry. Several patrol members had fallen into a pool of blood, with air in but not out. The food they had just snatched was snatched away again. The scene was chaotic. People were fighting for food while squeezing to escape. Hu Lily's face turned pale, and her heart was pounding with fear. Tang Zhuorao and Su Mengqian couldn't help but hold Jiang Fan's arm and lean in. Jiang Fan just looked at everything indifferently. No matter how chaotic the scene was, no one dared to approach him. A 3-meter empty circle formed around him in the apocalypse. The nature of everyone to bully the weak and fear the strong is undoubtedly exposed. Teo. Mrs. Su howled miserably. It turned out that the naughty child was pushed to the ground and then stepped on more than 10 times by a group of people. He started vomiting blood on the spot, and large mouthfuls of blood gushed out. Save my grandson. Save my grandson. Mrs. Su looked panicked. No one paid any attention to her. Everyone left in a hurry. Finally, the old Chinese medicine doctor Li Qingquan sighed and came back. Mrs. Su seemed to have found a savior, and quickly grabbed Li Qingquan's hand and said, save Teo. Teo is a good boy. Dr. Li, you must save him. Li Qingquan said seriously, I try my best. He squatted beside Teo, felt his pulse, and then looked at Teo's pupils. Li Qingquan shook his head. If it was before, it might be possible to save her if she was sent to the hospital right away. Now, sigh. Li Qingquan slowly stood up. Mrs. Su suddenly turned pale and grabbed Li Qingquan's trousers. How can I explain to his parents if he dies? Dr. Li, please save him. You must have a way to save him. Li Qingquan smiled bitterly. I'm sorry, I really can't help it. Mrs. Su suddenly changed her expression and said loudly, I know. You doctors just want money, right? I'll give it to you. 100,500? My family has money. As long as you cure him, I'll give it to you. Li Qingquan was speechless and said seriously, Sister Su, This is not about money, but about the lack of conditions for treatment now, MRS. Sue pulled Lee King-Kwin's trousers with excitement. Teo was just stepped on a few times. How could something happen? I know, you just want money. If you don't save Teo, you will die without saving him. You have no medical ethics, Lee. King-Kwin is willing to save people, but that doesn't mean he is a good old man who allows others to bully him. Humph. It's unreasonable. He suddenly raised his legs, shook off Mrs. Sue's hand, turned around and left Mrs. Sue lay on the ground and shouted, "Why don't you treat Teo? Why don't you treat me?" Then he started crying. "Come and take a look. This dead old man refuses to save you. His conscience has been eaten by dogs. Ouch. My life is so miserable. Lee King-Kwin, I'm going to sue you to the leader of your hospital, Tang Zurao." And Su Menqian looked at Mrs. Su with disgust. Jiang Fan watched the show with great interest and suddenly said, "Old Mrs. Su, stop crying, your grandson is out of breath, MRS. Su turned her head to look at Teo. The naughty child had turned blue and was out of breath. Ah. Teo. Teo, wake up. How can I explain to your parents if you die, MRS? Sue's eyes turned wide and she fainted with a faint sound. Jiang Fan curled his lips and turned around to see Lily, who was holding 5 packs of instant noodles tightly in her arms and hiding in the corner. Jiang Fan knew what she was afraid of and asked deliberately, "Why don't you go home yet, Hu?" Lily tried her best to smile. I'll leave later." In fact, she didn't dare to leave at all when everyone fled just now. It was obvious that several men were staring at the food in her arms. If Jiang Fan hadn't been here, she would have been robbed. Lily didn't dare to go downstairs to go home now. She didn't know if anyone was waiting to rob her down there. Jiang Fan said calmly, "Oh, just wait." After saying that, he took the 2 girls upstairs and went home. The corridor soon became quiet. There were several corpses scattered on the ground. The only living person was the comatose old lady Sue. The surroundings suddenly became terrifying. Lily was so frightened that she almost cried. She waited for a few more minutes before she mustered up the courage to go downstairs tremblingly. After tiptoeing all the way, "I was finally lucky and got home safely." As soon as she got home, Lily collapsed to the ground and could hardly stand up. At Tang Zurao's home, Jiang Fan saw the scene in his eyes. He had seen that there was no one in the corridor, and the only mutated beast was White Eyes, lying in front of Tang Zurao's house. No one would threaten Lily for the time being. He just wanted to scare Lily. This woman is a little smart, but not much. After a few days, when the instant noodles are finished, I still have to kneel down and come to beg for myself. Are you still pinning your hopes on national rescue? Jiang Fan withdrew his gaze, took out the enlightenment fruit from the lunchbox, and handed it to Tang Zurao. "It's for you, eat it." If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22 New Ability, Virtualization. Tang Zurao was surprised. "Give it to me, Jiang Fan said nonchalantly. "Well, I have plenty of this stuff, thank you, Brother Jiang." "Thank you, Brother Jiang." Tang Zurao was originally worried that she would fall out of favor, but now she finally felt relieved. BCH. Su Menqian looked at Tang Zurao jealously. Tang Zurao eat the fruit of enlightenment. Ling. Tang Zurao consumes 1 enlightenment fruit, virtualization, and 300 fruits will be returned. It has been put into the portable space. Enlightenment fruit, void. 2 stars. After eating it, you can gain virtualization ability. Eating the same fruit repeatedly has a chance of improving the star rating. Disappear. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. It is indeed a new ability, and it's a 2-star fruit. Tang Zurao instinctively felt a new ability, but couldn't figure out how to use it. Tang Zurao said curiously, "Brother Jiang, what kind of fruit is this, void?" Jiang Fan smiled, took out a few virtual fruits and threw them into his mouth. The system immediately prompts, virtualization. 2 stars, you can virtualize your body and travel between solid and liquid states. The greater the density of the solid, the greater the energy consumption. Jiang Fan's heart moved, and his virtualization ability was activated. He instinctively felt that his body was in a semi-illusory and semi-real state, and it seemed that he could pass through any place he wanted. Jiang Fan reached out to touch the wall and inserted his arm into it. Immediately afterwards, he walked into the wall and walked out of the bedroom. Wall penetration. Tang Zurao was pleasantly surprised. She gave it a try and followed Jiang Fan's example. Passing through the wall easily, Tang Zirao's face turned pale and she was panting, as if she had run for several kilometers. It's so tiring to go through walls. Brother Jiang is still good, I can go through 2 walls at most. Su Mengqian's eyes were filled with jealousy. This ability is a magical escape skill. Su Mengqian hugged Jiang Fan's arm resentfully. Jiang, husband. I also want. Jiang Fan raised his lips slightly. Then it depends on your future performance. Su Mengqian was pleasantly surprised and said quickly, husband, I will definitely work hard. Jiang Fan smiled and said, don't call me husband, call me master, master. Su Mengqian's face turned red. Yeah, be good. Jiang Fan stroked Su Mengqian's head like a cat. Tang Zirao's beautiful eyes were on fire. What st. Immediately afterwards, she knelt down on the ground, picked up Jiang Fan's big feet and held them in her arms. Jiang, master, are you tired? I'll give you a squeeze on your feet. Sure. Enough. Competition for jobs is conducive to improving service quality. Jiang Fan laughed with satisfaction. From now on, I will reward you with a fruit every few days, but who will be rewarded? Haha, when? The 2 women heard this, they both stared at each other eagerly, and there was a faint spark of collision in the air. Okay, let's go play, little kitty, I'm going to do some business. Jiang Fan stood up, and with a thought in his heart, the virtualization started. He felt that the floor beneath his feet was empty, and his body fell lightly from the perspective of the 2 women. Jiang Fan's body quickly sank into the floor and finally disappeared completely. Jiang Fan crossed the floor and landed in the room downstairs. He turned off his virtualization ability in midair and easily stepped on the floor of the 31st floor. Ha ha ha. It's indeed a life-saving skill. Jiang Fan was very satisfied. Jiang Fan tested it a few more times and quickly understood the details of the virtualization ability. 1. When walking through a solid body, it is like walking in a swimming pool, which is more laborious. The greater the density of the solid, the more energy is consumed and the slower the speed. He can clearly feel that when passing through a load-bearing wall, the resistance is much greater than that in hollow bricks. 2. You cannot breathe in a solid body, you can only hold your breath, so you cannot stay in a solid body for a long time. 3. You can carry items through walls. Whether it is the clothes on his body or his backpack, they will be considered as part of his body, traveling through the solid body. Jiang Fan laughed. Moreover, my overall physical fitness is very high. It consumes a lot of energy for Tang Zirao, but it is very small for me. If breathing problems are not considered, I can walk several kilometers slowly. There was no one in Tang Zirao's downstairs room. Jiang Fan simply took out a handful of hollow fruits and ate them one by one. After eating more than a dozen pills, the system prompted again. Ling. Virtualization is upgraded to 3 stars. The speed of traveling through solids and liquids is accelerated. Jiang Fan continued to eat. Ling. Virtual blur is upgraded to 4 stars. The speed of traveling through solids and liquids is accelerated. Keep eating. Ling. Void upgrade to 5 stars. You can barely breathe in solids and liquids. Jiang Fan's eyes lit up. If you can breathe in solids and liquids, you can move for a long time. Disappear. Jiang Fan unlocked his ability and experimented with changes in his ability. If you walked through a solid before, it would be like walking in viscous water. Now it's like running against a strong wind, and the speed is much faster. Plus, I can actually breathe. I still feel a bit suffocated, a bit like the feeling of difficulty breathing when wearing an N95 mask, but it doesn't matter. As long as you can breathe, you can move underground for a long time. Escape or sneak attack can play a huge role. There were only more than 100 hollow fruits left. Jiang Fan felt that there was no way to upgrade, so he took out a perception fruit and ate it. But after eating hundreds of pills in a row, it still didn't reach 5 stars, including what I usually eat casually. I have eaten at least more than 200 fruits of perception. The same is true for the physique-enhancing fruit. The effect of Jiang Fan's consumption was very unobvious, and it seemed that the effect was worse than perceived. Jiang Fan couldn't help but guess. It's probably because the perception fruit is only 1 star, and contains less energy. It's difficult to upgrade to 5 stars, and the hollow fruit is 2 stars, and its energy is higher than the energy of the perception fruit, so it can be easily upgraded to 5 stars. In addition, there may be another reason. My body is not suitable for the physical enhancement fruit and the sensory fruit, and is more adaptable to the virtual fruit. In this case, Jiang Fan will not try again. Let's collect supplies first. Now, the entire empty house in the building belongs to me. Going. Through a wall is much faster than smashing into it. Jiang Fan spent more than half an hour searching all the unoccupied rooms above the 21st floor, and collected countless supplies. Tongai, Master Kong, Baixiang and Jin Meilang are the 4 kings of instant noodles. With a total of more than 30 flavors, there are more than a dozen kinds of ham, sausages, various common packaged foods and beverages, ham, chocolate, biscuits, bread, spicy strips, duck neck, cola, beer, etc. frozen chicken, fish, beef, lamb, and pork, unopened oil, salt, soy sauce, vinegar and various condiments. 0, total, complete taste furniture, electrical appliances, toilet paper, condoms, shampoo, soap, toothpaste, and various common medicines. Furniture and appliances were also moved. In short, Jiang Fan is still there. The daily necessities collected are enough for 10 people for 1 year if all the empty rooms in the entire community are searched. There is no need to go to residential areas to collect supplies. It is better to go directly to a large supermarket, where there is a richer variety of supplies. Jiang Fan stood in a room on the 21st floor, and the red mist had reached knee height. Next door is Hu Lily's room. Jiang Fan saw her eating instant noodles. Hu Lily seemed reluctant to finish the meal. She ate half of it, kept half of it, and then put it in the refrigerator to freeze. This woman is so stupid. It's strange that she didn't spoil after eating half of it. Jiang Fan put Hu Lily in the back of his mind and continued to search for supplies. His heart moved, and his body passed through the floor and fell into the 20th floor. This layer was completely covered by red mist. The red mist indoors is barely lighter than outside. He looked with his eyes, and it was very blurry. A few meters away, standing in the bedroom and looking into the living room, I can barely see anything, but he uses his senses to see, but it is not affected at all. Jiang Fan raised his lips slightly and quickly put the materials in the room into the space. Then, Jiang Fan walked through the wall, walked into the next house, and continued searching. He just searched the 20th floor one by one, then went to the 19th floor, the 18th floor, the 17th floor. Chapter 23 Locksmith's Spring. The lower the floor, the darker the room. The red mist blocks a lot of sunlight. The sun's rays barely shine through. On the 10th floor, the light outside was like a cloudy sky. Ivy covered most of the windows, and the interior was extremely dark. Below the 5th floor, the brightness outside becomes like a moonlit night. It's even worse indoors. The glass is completely covered, and if you don't turn on the lights, the room will be completely dark. Coupled with the obstruction of the red mist, no one can be seen beyond 5 meters. However, perception remains unaffected. Jiang Fan stood in an empty room on the 2nd floor, looking at the ground on the 1st floor with a solemn expression in perception. The lobby on the 1st floor has almost turned into a sea of plants. There's a faint glow everywhere, mostly yellow neutrals. A small number of plants emit red light and apparently attack humans. Among the plants, various insects and animals shuttle among them. Huge rats, cockroaches, and ants abound. Flies and dragonflies, shaped like drones, shuttle and hover among the plants. Most animals also have yellow light. In other words, it is unlikely to actively attack humans. It's probably their survival rules left over from the past. However, as time goes by and the competition for survival intensifies, it is difficult to say that these animals will not regard humans as prey. In addition, Jiang Fan also confirmed one thing. Perception can see the situation under the soil. The Fortune Center community was built relatively early, and there is no parking lot downstairs. Below the ground is the foundation and soil. Jiang Fan saw various creatures in the soil, most of which were mice and earthworms, which posed little threat. Jiang Fan observed carefully for a few minutes and determined that there were no threats nearby. In order to minimize the exposed skin, Jiang Fan took out a thick jacket from his pocket and put on hard hiking shoes. After preparations were completed, Jiang Fan's heart moved. Disappear. Jiang Fan crossed the floor and landed on the 1st floor. There is no one in this room. One window was not closed securely. The ivy crawled in through the window cracks and grew all over the walls and roof. At this time, in Jiang Fan's perception, he suddenly saw a man and a woman walking cautiously, and finally came to the door. The woman held a flashlight to illuminate the scene while the man tinkered with tools outside the door for a while. Click. The door lock unlocked. Jiang Fan was surprised. What a guy, what a technical talent. For ordinary people, security doors are difficult to open. Even if Zhou Xianhao were to give him a hammer, it would still take a lot of effort to forcefully break open the security door. This man is amazing. It takes a few minutes to open a door. The man turned to the woman proudly and said, "See? I just said it's very simple." He is a locksmith. Before the end of the world, he was just a low-level person who is not taken seriously by others. Now it's spring, the woman said in a sweet voice. "Brother Liu, you are so awesome." Liu Dongyang said sternly. Xiao Jiang Follow me and I promise you won't starve. That package of food and accommodation is nothing. No matter how much food he stores, he will always run out. Follow me. Let's drive past one house and drive to the next. Dong, I can feed you for at least 3 years, Jiang Fan secretly laughed. It's a pity that you came a little late and I took all the supplies, Xiao Jiang said shyly. Brother Liu, I am not a casual person. Having said that, the man and woman closed the door and began to gnaw at each other passionately. They couldn't even see a person standing in the red mist not far away. Jiang Fan glanced at the woman, and the system popped up a reminder. Jiang Yan age 36, quality 7 points, contrast young woman, female ethics 0 points, comprehensive score 0 points, Ling does not meet the minimum system requirements, good guy 0 points. Boss, it's really a long time to see you, brother locksmith. Enjoy yourself. Jiang Fan paused for a moment of silence for the unlocking brother, and then his body slowly entered the ground. He controlled himself to fall into a depth of about 2 meters and walked forward in this oil. The feeling of walking in virtual reality underground is very novel. The surroundings are dark and the eyes cannot see anything, but the perception provides vision. Jiang Fan discovered that in his virtual state, he could not only pass through stones and soil, but also through creatures such as earthworms. 500 meters to the east, there is yet a shopping mall with a supermarket inside. Jiang Fan identified the direction and rushed towards Yida's shopping mall. After Liu Dongqiang and Jiang Yan were passionate for a while, Jiang Yan was a little impatient and said patiently, Brother Liu, don't stay outside. Liu Dongqiang's intention was still unclear. Okay, let's get some food first and then continue when we get back. Jiang Yan said coyly. The two began to search the room. It doesn't matter if you don't look at it. You will be shocked when you look at it. The whole room seemed to have been moved by a moving company, completely empty, not to mention the food. Even the furniture has disappeared. Liu Dongqiang scratched his head. Did this family move out? Let's find another one. Jiang Yan was a little disappointed, but didn't say anything. It was just bad luck. She can firmly control Liu Dongqiang, a blue chip stock in the apocalypse. Then let's switch to another one. Change. The two of them changed houses again. Still empty. Another one. Liu Dongqiang is numb. FK. What's going on? Jiang Yan's expression was also wrong. Nothing. Liu Dongqiang hurriedly went to the house he had just visited the day before yesterday. He opened the door and saw it was empty. Liu Dongqiang trembled. Where is the stuff? I touched something dirty. He felt panic in his heart. The walls glowed dark red under the reflection of the red mist. Looking eerie, Liu Dongqiang forced himself to calm down. In the past, he relied on his ability to open locks, so he didn't cherish the food he got and squandered a lot of it casually. Now there is not much food left at home. Who knew? Now we can't find food, Brother Liu said in confusion. Now we're in big trouble. Jiang Yan's face was gloomy. Waste. If everything in the room has been taken away, what use will the locksmith Liu Dongqiang have? She wanted to leave now. However, there is no good goal for leaving Liu Dongqiang. She could only endure it and glanced at Liu Dongqiang without leaving any trace. In any case, the ability to pick locks is still very useful in the end of the world. Liu Dongqiang was still confused. Jiang Yan remained calm, pretending to be frightened, and asked, Brother Liu, what should I do if I don't have anything to eat? Liu Dongqiang was panicked and embarrassed. He was slapped in the face after he had boasted just now. He didn't know how to face Jiang Yan, and said with a red face, This, Jiang Yan whispered, how about, let's go to other people's houses at night, and get some, steal. Liu Dongqiang was startled, and he quickly waved his hand, no. No. If we get caught by the police, we'll be in trouble. In peaceful times, he was a timid person who did not dare to cause trouble. Jiang Yan hates that iron cannot become steel. Brother Liu, can the police arrest you now? Look at how many people died this afternoon. Is anyone taking care of it? There is also that convenience store clerk who killed Coach Joe in public. Are the police here? Liu Dongqiang hesitated. This, Jiang Yan said aggrievedly, I know Brother Liu is a good man, but you don't think I said anything. I just can't bear to see you starve. She hugged Liu Dongqiang's body, rested her head on his shoulder, and said softly, no matter what Brother Liu chooses, Xiao Jiang is willing to accompany you until the last moment. I just wish I hadn't met you a few years earlier and couldn't have given birth to your child. Alice, who made us unlucky. Liu Dongqiang's head banged. He has lived for more than 30 years, and no girl has ever been so gentle to him. What's more, A beautiful young woman with a plump figure like Jiang Yan. This is not the end of the world. It is clearly my own spring. Liu Dongqiang seemed to hear the evil bewitching voice. Yes, in this situation, can the police still come to arrest people? If I wait until midnight to quietly open the door and just steal something, who'll find out? Liu Dongqiang gritted his teeth. Okay. I'm going to get some food tonight. I know someone who still has food. Jiang Yan's lowered eyes flashed, and the corners of her mouth raised quietly. Snort. This kind of stupid man is best played around with. Chapter 24. Raid the supermarket. Jiang Fan walked 100 meters underground, found a place with few plants, and went up to the ground. There is a parking lot in front of you. The original asphalt field is now covered with the green grass. There is a road next to it, and the traffic lights are still working, and they are constantly switching red, yellow and green lights. Traffic light poles are covered with climbing plants. The metal pillar that was originally as thick as a saucer has now turned into a huge plant pillar that the two of them hugged. A rabbit as big as a pig was grazing in the grass, half as tall as a man. Jiang Fan suddenly made an attack movement. The rabbit was startled and jumped 7 or 8 meters high and more than 10 meters away. Rub. It disappeared in a matter of seconds. Jiang Fan allowed the rabbit to leave, silently calculating in his heart, the movement speed is a little faster than me, but not much, and the strength seems to be much worse than mine. If this kind of rabbit can survive in the wild, I can probably do it too. Jiang Fan had an idea in his mind, but this is only the current situation. Plant and animal evolution is still ongoing. The most obvious example is the height of the pine trees, which are still growing in rats. Most mice grow to the size of a cat and become immobile, but there are still some extremely talented rats that are still growing in size, and they don't know when they will stop. Jiang Fan walked to the highway. The ground is covered with shrubs and weeds, and the asphalt is pierced. Walking on it will not pierce the soles of your shoes, but it is very difficult. However, ordinary vehicles should not be able to drive. If you drive any faster, the rubber tires will be easily punctured. You can't see 5 meters with your eyes, and everything is red. Fortunately, perception is not affected. There is a small supermarket with a closed door on the roadside. There was a man lying curled up on the ground, still alive, but in a very bad condition. After Jiang Fan walked for a while, a large piece of plant similar to cockleburr stuck to his trousers, which was very difficult to remove. It would be troublesome if a wound was scraped. Now that the virus has mutated, Jiang Fan doesn't know if his body can withstand it. Coupled with the waist-deep bushes everywhere, walking was extremely difficult. Jiang Fan thought for a while and decided to try a new method of blurring disappear. He was still walking on the ground, but his body passed through the bushes along the way. In this way, you can not only enjoy the advantages of passing through solids and liquids, but also move in a straight line. There is no need to sink to the ground, where the movement speed will be slowed down by the soil, and breathing will be uncomfortable after a while. Jiang Fan arrived in front of Yida Plaza. The shopping mall that used to be bustling with traffic is now completely silent. The gate of Yida Plaza was closed tightly, as if it had been closed urgently when the red mist came. There are no ivy here, but the weeds are much taller than those in the Fortune Center, over 1.5 meters tall. Women who are slightly shorter cannot see the grass. The grass is full of giant insects such as grasshoppers, crickets, and mantises. Especially the praying mantis, which exudes a faint red light, is very difficult to mess with at first sight. Jiang Fan walked through the gate. The interior of the mall was gloomy and dark, and there was not a single survivor. Jiang Fan couldn't find the light switch, so he could only take out a flashlight and use his senses to search for supplies. He simply identified the direction and went straight to the supermarket inside Yida Plaza. As soon as I entered the supermarket, I saw several corpses lying on the ground. The flesh and blood had been completely eaten away, leaving only the white bones with tooth marks and a lot of mutilated parts. They were probably dragged away by some kind of animal. Judging from the torn clothes next to the corpse, these people should be the security guards of the square. Jiang Fan was secretly vigilant. However, there is indeed no danger in the 50-meter range perceived, only some animals such as mice and flies. As soon as Jiang Fan walked into the supermarket, he smelled a strong rancid smell. The fresh food area upon entering suddenly turned into a huge garbage dump. A large amount of meat, vegetables, and fruits were completely rotten and exuded an indescribable stench. Flies were flying around. Rats and cockroaches crawled all over the floor. Ugh! Jiang Fan covered his nose and passed quickly to other areas. The products are placed in rows on the shelves, with no sign that anyone has been there. Jiang Fan guessed that when the red mist first came, Yida Plaza was temporarily closed to avoid problems, leaving only a few security guards at the beginning. People may still be waiting for rescue at home. As a result, all things evolved at the speed of light, and plants grew wildly and animals became larger, which was beyond the reach of people. Even if they thought about it, it's all mine. Jiang Fan chuckled and took all the supplies into his bag without hesitation, whether it's tobacco, alcohol, pots and pans, bedding, clothes, paper towels or mops. Jiang will accept everyone who comes. Even the shelves and shopping carts were left alone. Jiang Fan searched them all and finally found the warehouse area. In front of you is a huge shelf, with a top reaching straight to the roof. There is no end in sight, and it disappears into the red mist. The shelves were filled with boxes of unopened merchandise. The quantity is several times more than what is displayed outside. It took Jiang Fan half an hour to put all the goods and shelves into the space, and the 2 forklifts used for loading and unloading the goods were also put into the space. There is also a large cold storage in the warehouse, which is still working normally. Jiang Fan opened the cold storage door and saw boxes of frozen meat, neatly arranged fish, pork, beef, mutton, chicken. There are so many kinds, there is no shortage of them all. Jiang Fan was reluctant to buy many of the expensive ingredients before, but now they were all placed in front of him for him to take. Haha. With these things, I won't have to worry about eating and drinking for the rest of my life. Jiang Fan swept them away without ceremony. Finally, he found the security monitoring room. The monitoring system was still running normally, but it was obscured by the red mist, and no useful information was recorded at all. In order to prevent others from discovering that he had done it, Jiang Fan unplugged the monitoring server, didn't bother to destroy the hard drive, and simply threw it into the portable space. Yida Plaza has a total of 4 floors. There are shops and restaurants on it, and there are probably some supplies, but they are not important anymore. Jiang Fan checked the time on his phone. It's getting late. Come back tomorrow during the day. Now, the survivors are all hungry, and maybe some are bold enough to do it to themselves. After Jiang Fan left, the dark Yida Plaza fell into dead silence again. Suddenly, a light blue round film as big as a wash basin appeared out of thin air. In the air more than 2 meters high, the circular film vibrated slightly, creating ripples and circles, just like the water surface. After a while, a lolly with twin ponytails poked her head out of the blue film. She held a flashlight and looked around cautiously. It's indeed Yida, Lolly said proudly after seeing the rows of shelves. I'm such a genius. She struggled through the blue film and jumped into the supermarket. Unfortunately, the height was higher than she expected, and she fell on her buttocks. Oops, ouch, my butt hurts so much. Lolly burst into tears after a long time. She stood up with tears in her eyes and her buttocks rubbed. There was dead silence under the illumination of the flashlight. The red mist exudes a strange blood red color. Lolly was so scared that she wanted to open the door and go home immediately, but there was no food at home, so she could only take risks. Lolly tremblingly held up the flashlight and began to explore carefully. Fortunately, she was very familiar with Yida Plaza and quickly found the supermarket entrance. Looking at the dark entrance, Lolly swallowed hard and walked down bravely. When you enter the door, you will see the fresh fruit section, which exudes a disgusting rotten smell and has flies buzzing around. Lolly covered her nose and walked quickly, finally arriving at the supermarket shelf. Ah, where are the shelves? Lolly looked at the empty venue in confusion. Did the people at Yida Plaza move all the supplies away? Lolly was hesitating whether to look for the warehouse area. Suddenly, a pair of huge green eyes appeared at the end of the flashlight light. An orange cat that was as big as a tiger walked out slowly, tilting its head and looking at Lolly. Meow. It seemed to smell the same kind of scent on Lolly. Oh my god. Lolly was so frightened that her ponytails almost stood up. Don't come over here. While shedding tears, she made a stroke with her hand. A blue line appears in front of you. Lolly grabbed the blue thread with both hands, pulled it to both sides, and then tore open a blue film, and got in with a PDF look bow. The blue film disappeared. The orange cat tilted its head and looked at Lolly's position just now. It couldn't understand how the two-legged beast disappeared. The orange cat walked slowly, sniffed around, and then left. Bored bipeds are so afraid of me. I must be a god. Chapter 25 Mutated Frog. Power outage. Jiang Fan rose from the ground, facing the first-floor lobby of Building C of the Fortune Center. He looked back and saw that there was no trace of the road in the community, completely submerged in the endless plants. Human civilization is finished. Jiang Fan sighed. Just as he was about to go upstairs, an accident happened. Suddenly, an object with an evil red light all over its body pierced into his range of perception like lightning. In the blink of an eye, time seemed to freeze. Jiang Fan's consciousness was not affected, and several thoughts flashed through him in an instant. What the hell? It's targeting me. Must stay away. Jiang Fan tried his best to move his body, but no matter how hard he tried, it was very difficult to move, like an insect trapped in sticky glue. No. It's not that I'm too slow. It's that my consciousness has become faster, but my body can't keep up. Compared with Jiang Fan's speed, the strip-shaped monster was like a speeding car, dragging a bright and terrifying red light towards him. Jiang Fan finally saw clearly the strip-shaped monster is actually a tongue. It's that mutant frog. Jiang Fan reacted instantly. This tongue has become thicker than when it was eating that woman. What to do? Jiang Fan's body moved inch by inch. At the last moment when the tongue hit his body, Jiang Fan knew that he would never be able to escape. He made his final response, void. The next moment, the giant tongue passed through Jiang Fan's body and hit the air. The giant tongue hit the wall next to it hard, making a big hole the size of a bucket, and penetrated the wall. The moment the giant tongue passed through the phantom of Jiang Fan's body, Jiang Fan felt weak all over and his physical strength was consumed rapidly. It's so powerful. It takes a lot of energy to penetrate its tongue. If it passes through its body, Jiang Fan estimates that his physical strength will be exhausted in an instant. Without saying a word, he immediately sank into the ground. The tongue retracted with a hiss. Quack, quack, came the loud cry of the frog. The sound was so loud that even Jiang Fan, 2 meters below the ground, could hear it. At this time, a frog as big as a car jumped into Jiang Fan's 50-meter sensing range. In Jiang Fan's perception, the mutant frog's body was emitting a dazzling light, like the sun in the sky. Compared with the brightness of the light on Jiang Fan's body, it can barely be considered brighter. Inside the frog's body, there is a bright, ginger-like object, but it is blue, much brighter than the ginger inside Jiang Fan, and it has more branches. Jiang Fan looked at it solemnly. There is a flaw in my perception. If an enemy attacks from 50 meters away, it is difficult for me to detect it. The mutated frog's tongue is more than 50 meters away. The mutated frog beat slowly and made loud calls from time to time. Guagua, guagua. It patrols its territory like a king. Wherever the mutant frog went, all the animals hid, hiding their bodies and not daring to make a sound. The mutated frog suddenly shoots its tongue into the air. A huge cat was dragged back and swallowed easily. Throughout the process, the cat had almost no ability to resist. Although the mutated frog is powerful, it poses no threat to Jiang Fan. Underground, Jiang Fan hid underground and calmly watched this scene. The mutant frog doesn't move very fast, but its tongue is too fast. In addition, it should have the ability to detect distant prey, otherwise it would not be able to catch prey from such a distance. Based on brightness, its combat power is at least 3 times that of mine. It's really strange. How did it do it? Did it also eat many kinds of enlightenment fruits? However, it doesn't seem to have a high IQ. After hitting the air, it seemed to have forgotten about me and had no intention of continuing to search for me. Under Jiang Fan's gaze, the mutated frog left leisurely. Jiang Fan waited for a few more minutes before cautiously arriving under a room on the first floor. Leaving the ground and ascending to the first floor, Jiang Fan pushed his legs hard, jumped slightly, and his head touched the roof. Disappear. Jiang Fan passed through the floor and jumped to the second floor. He walked all the way through the walls and floors, avoiding all occupied rooms, and returned to Tang Zirao's room. Tang Zirao was looking out the window in a daze. With a worried look on her face, Su Mengqian scrolled through her phone, feeling a little restless. Jiang Fan had been away for too long, which made the 2 girls very nervous. A lot happened today. The 4 men in Block A killed strong women, and the killing in the afternoon made them completely understand that the order was finally chaotic, and they would never be able to return to their peaceful life. When the last illusion was shattered, they relied heavily on Jiang Fan. Neither woman is stupid. In troubled times, if a beautiful woman is not protected by a strong man, she will eventually become someone else's plaything. Whoosh! Jiang Fan suddenly jumped up from under the floor. The 2 girls were startled, and when they saw it was Jiang Fan, they immediately breathed a sigh of relief and couldn't help but feel happy. Brother Jiang, you're back. The food will be ready soon. Brother Jiang, thank you for your hard work. Drink some water. The 2 women hugged Jiang Fan's arm. Jiang Fan felt relieved. The company of 2 beautiful beauties relieved a lot of his psychological pressure. It's getting late. Jiang Fan took out a lot of food: potato chips, canned food, frozen fish, frozen shrimp, a whole black pork chop. The 2 girls' eyes shone and their hearts settled down. Su Mengqian took the initiative to speak. I went to cook. Tang Zirao was not to be outdone. I'll give you a hand. She is also ready to learn to cook. Su Mengqian glanced at her unhappily. While Su Mengqian was cooking, countless people screamed from outside the balcony. Jiang Fan turned around and saw that all the lights in the community next door to the fortune center were out. Has the power finally gone out? Jiang Fan watched silently. He had expected this scene. Crazy growing plants will always damage some electrical equipment. In fact, Jiang Fan was surprised that Mohe City's water, Electricity and gas could last until now through the moonlight. Jiang Fan vaguely saw some people running to the balcony in panic and looking outside when they discovered that the entire community had a power outage. They made unexplained screams of fear. In the terrifying end of evolution, human beings have lost their light and their ability to survive has naturally been greatly reduced, and this is more than 20 stories high. If it is below the 20th floor, it will be completely submerged in red mist, and the surrounding area will fall into complete darkness, which will probably scare people out of their wits. Sumenkian and Tang Zhao also stood at the window and looked across. The two girls were very worried. We won't have a power outage here, right? Jiang Fan said calmly. There will definitely be a power outage. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, sooner or later. Modern cities are actually very fragile. The two women's faces turned slightly pale. A power outage means a water outage. Gas will certainly not last long. At the same time, large-scale power outages will cause base stations to shut down, the network will gradually become paralyzed, and messages will be completely cut off. Jiang Fan turned on his mobile phone and searched for power outages, only to discover that this was not the first case of power outages. Various cities have already experienced power outages of varying degrees after some thermal power plants exhausted their stored coal. The staff who were still working at the power plants had no way to replenish fuel and had no choice but to shut down the solar panels on the desert, covered by endless weeds. Also failed. Only hydroelectric power stations can barely function. However, as a large number of devices are damaged and offline, it is only a matter of time before they stop running. The power grid that Longo is proud of is gradually being destroyed with a lack of electricity. Human living conditions will deteriorate to the extreme, and modern cities will become the most terrifying coliseums. Human beings not only have to fight for survival against a terrifying nature, but also kill and compete with their own kind. Cities are dangerous, and sparsely populated rural areas are not optimistic either. Although the competition between humans there is not as fierce as in the city, there are more plants in the countryside, and they have to face a far more terrifying natural environment than in the city. The two girls had a restless meal facing the impending power outage. Jiang Fan was also worried. I still want to become stronger. The living environment is getting worse and worse, and only one's own strength is the most reliable. Jiang Fan took out a handful of enlightenment fruit and ate it. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.